How's it going?
Going good, man.
I'm coming around to join you right now. Welcome, everybody, to another edition of Tackle Shop Confessions. Sam, good to see you, my friend. How are you?
Good.
Whoa.
How you doing? Caught up there, huh?
Doing a striptease here. Want to ruin everybody's appetite for the night. Yeah, we'll see if we're on the air. I think we are.
There
We
we go.
should be on the air. And that looks like the camera is perfectly positioned.
Once again?
Yes,
Yes.
as
once
always,
again.
right? It's good to see you. I need to turn the volume down on my little thing here. And while I'm doing that, Sam, it's great to see you. Limits of Bluefin Tuna today on the
biting.
San Diego. What do you think?
It's biting, man. Just in time for my trip next week, Tuesday.
Why don't you tell everybody about that trip while I try to find the volume on this?
I'm going to be headed on the 3-day trip, leaving on Tuesday, on my favorite San Diego boat there, the Royal Star.
Yeah, why is that your favorite boat, by the way?
You know, I've been fishing with those guys for, I don't know, 15 or 16 years now. And since the very first time I was on that boat, those guys have just treated me so good.
Yeah.
And we've just had a really good relationship all these years. Been doing sponsored trips with them, and so, like I said, up to now, those guys haven't given me any reason to look anywhere else. It was really great operation, super professional, super friendly, a family operation, and you know, like I said, for me, those guys have just been so great. So, really appreciative to them.
Good stuff. All right, this is Sam De La Torre from Island Fishing Tackle here in Carson, California. I am Philip Friedman from Friedman Adventures. That is Michael Limon, who has improved his academic fortunes because his grandfather, I'll take that. Because his grandfather insisted that he get good grades to go fishing.
Heck yeah.
So that is the carrot and
Awesome.
the stick, right?
It
That
is.
works really, really well. We got a great show for you tonight because we've got limits of bluefin tuna in San Diego. Finally, it's starting to bite. We've got some great stories from our 2-day trip on the Apollo. We just got back in from that. That was a great trip. There's sea bass, there's halibut, there's yellowtail, and there's all of your questions here for Sam because I have no answers for you. So I defer to Sam. I just read them for part of the evening, and then when I get tired, you start reading them
There you
also.
go. Yeah.
And
Yeah,
any
cue that
food
up.
that you might want to send our way will be deeply appreciated, as always. We will love you for that. So, Sam, I'll tell you, this bluefin thing has been driving
Heating
these
up.
poor guys nuts.
Heating up, though.
It's
Yeah.
finally starting to turn a corner
Yeah.
here, and I think we're getting into the right direction. I don't know if it's moon phase or what it
Yeah.
is, or I suspect that it's water temperature, but I'm not sure.
I mean, I think like anything else, you know, we're always looking for those cues. You know, what's it going to be? Is it the moon phase? Is it going to be, you know, water temperature, whatever it is? But, you know, typically we always know as the season comes along, it starts to pick up. And at a certain point, we start feeling like, okay, we've hit our stride. And we say that every week, I think, you know, it's kind of like the albacore thing. But I think that now it does feel like that we're kind of hitting our stride there and we're kind of stringing them together a little bit more. I got to imagine a lot of it is just the fish starts to pile up, you know. We start getting those first couple schools and we get a good hit on them, but then they get squirrely and they move on, you know, wherever they go.
Yeah.
And then after that, we get more and more, and they just start to pile on and get a little bit more frequent where we get good biting schools. So, seems like we're getting into that. I mean, I hope
It
so.
does, it
Yeah.
does. And you must be pretty darn excited knowing that you've got a trip coming up.
Yeah. You know, I'm super excited to fish again on that boat. In fact, this is gonna be my first trip with one of the new partners on the boat, Alex. And I've known Alex since he was probably like 13 years old. He used to be a deckhand on the Southern Cal.
Yeah.
And so he's a local guy. And so I'm kind of excited to fish with him. A lot of pressure for me to perform, you know. I mean, all these years, this guy has done such a good job of working on the Apollo before when they were down in Puerto Vallarta.
Yeah.
Now he's come on with the Royal Star, and he's doing great things already. I've seen through the reports, but I'm excited to go fish with him. Yeah, it'd be awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. So you have a customer here in the store now, and he doesn't know that we're talking about him. He's talking
No,
to Matt.
yeah.
He's trying to figure a way to get out of here without being on the camera. So
You
he's
turn off the
going to go
camera?
around that way,
Yeah.
and then he's still going to be on the camera.
Yeah.
You know, so he's trapped.
One way in, one way out.
Yeah, exactly. And so when he goes through, make sure you yell at him, everybody.
Yeah.
You want me to start reading some comments? Because there's
do it,
about
yeah. It's
33
gonna start stacking
comments
up, yeah.
already. All right, Tommy Tar, I want to put a Spectra line backing with a monotop shot on my surface iron. One reel is a Newell G338F, old school. The other is a Komodo SS. What should I use? Richard, you're not supposed to walk into our show.
Yeah,
What's wrong with
you're
you?
on the show.
Oh, my God. Have a good night.
He's going to go get the food.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, bring the food in, please,
Yeah.
Richard. Yeah, just keep standing there. It's good. I like it. Go ahead.
Yeah, so typically on mine, you know, I'll back them with 50-pound Spectra, white Spectra, and leave room for about 100 yards of 40-pound top shot. 100 yards is kind of a safe amount. You could put a little more on, a little bit less, right around there. But if you're at around 100 yards, you should be good.
All right, perfect. 540 Slinger. That's Jeff Yeoman saying good evening to us. Travis Bright. What's up, guys? Travis is in the stern of the Apollo fighting a fish, and he's on 25-pound test. And I'm not sure whether it's I haven't been fishing with him enough to know his level of expertise.
Gotcha.
But I'm watching him, and he's pulling hard, and everything's going. And I'm looking at his drag, and everything looks at 33-pound forky. That's a
Jeez,
nice
that's a big
Catalina Island yellow.
30-pound. That's a
on 25 pounds.
25, yeah.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
Travis. That was a good fish,
catch
man.
right there.
Yeah, awesome catch. Friedman Adventures says good evening. Oh, that's me. Sorry. Victor Clark. Hey, finally made it. All right, Victor, good to have you here with us. My friend Chuck Zimmer. He was on this trip with us on the Apollo. President of the Redondo Rod and Gun Club. Their meeting is starting pretty soon. Always a good time when you guys get together. Thank you so much, Chuck. It was a good time on the Apollo. Dan Smith, good evening, Phil, Sam, and you fishy folks watching. I've been watching Dan and Kim down in San Diego, calico bass, sand bass. They've been having a great time. So good to have them with us. Scott Buchert, you and Sam are the best.
Who? Somebody else than Sam, huh?
No, wait a minute. Because Scott always says you're the best and I suck.
Yeah.
He says that constantly. He must want something from me. What do you need, Scott, huh? Scott Buchert, now it hasn't arrived yet, but he's promised copious amounts of food tonight. Do you believe it?
I believe it. He's come through every time so far.
He's a very generous guy.
Yeah.
We love Scott, don't
So
we?
yes,
We
very
joke.
shortly we'll have that coming through.
Yes, Michael, that's the only reason he's here. Grandpa, there's food coming. I'm starving. And Grandpa's over here from ZZ Top, so we'll get him in the shot in just a little bit. And Dan sends Scott a message saying, hope you're doing good up in Alaska. Do you think there will be albacore in the next 8 days? Oh, maybe that's it. I did bet Scott last night about midnight.
There's not going to be any albacore.
Ah, get out of here, Matt. How do you get in here? Is he leaving now?
He was waiting for the
That's the last thing
albacore,
he said. So about seriously, I was sound asleep. My phone, I hear it, and I look. It's Scott, in Alaska, out at sea, calling me.
Catch albacore
Hey,
before we
I want no. Will you bet me $50 that? Do you think there'll be an albacore caught by the 16th of June? I said yes, and he goes, "Will you bet?" And I go, "Yeah, of course, sure, we're on."
Man,
So
50
that's what he
bucks
wants
short,
to know.
yeah.
What do you think?
Well, that's probably what's paying for our dinner tonight.
Yeah, maybe. I'm paying then, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh. What? That didn't work out the way I was
Gotcha.
supposed to.
So what about raising albacore?
Yes, we could raise albacore.
raise
That's
them,
right.
yeah.
Why not? Then we got it. I win.
You gotta
I'm going to go
down.
down to Ralph's and get an albacore. You know that,
I'll throw
right?
it to you, you catch
And
it.
say, Scott, here it is. Well, do you want to answer that question or not?
I do not think there'll be albacore in the next 8 days.
All right, I do.
See it. I don't see it.
I hope so, anyway. Great Scott. All right. Jason says, hey, Sam and Phil. Jason, good to see you. I got a $50 bet with Phil
Yeah.
Freeman. And there you are. Good evening, everybody. Isaac, great to see you. Chewy, hello from Temecula. Good to see you. Greg Buchert, Scott Buchert, food is coming. Oh, Sam and I deeply appreciate that. Where'd I go here now?
Isaac,
I'm going
hello
backwards.
from Loma Linda. Who let Michael in?
Oh, there you are. Yeah, who did let Michael in? All right, Joe. Evening, Phil. Sam, glad to be tuning in earlier this time. Good luck on your trip, Sam.
Thanks.
Listening in Santa Cruz on the Monterey
Nice,
Bay. Joe,
nice.
you're a great guy, man. He's always contributing, always with us. We have people all over the world now, which
Had a
is
guy
cool.
the other day.
Yeah?
Was in from Seattle. Says he watches it from Seattle.
Really?
He's actually down here fishing right now, so he's not watching us. He's on a trip.
Is he on the Apollo?
No, he's in San Diego.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but he says when he's at home, he's watching us every week.
There
That's pretty cool.
You correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't exactly remember. I was doing so many things. But at the landing, a group flew in. The guys from Washington or San Francisco?
Washington and San Francisco.
Washington and San Francisco. And they're all Friedman Adventures. I watch all the time.
Nice.
They're on a 3-day trip. So
You saw
love
him
your
down
show.
there, or they
Yeah,
talked
we
to
saw
you?
them. They came in the
Oh, that's
studio
awesome.
and shot some
awesome.
photos with us, and it was really cool. Christopher Bailey, good evening, guys. Queen Creek, Arizona.
Yeah, there you go.
Man, I love it. Excuse me, Mike Trunk, watching from the Cook Islands.
Wow.
Mike, you are all over the place. I've
gotta
been
be-
I've been to the Cook Islands.
Really?
Yep. Bob Alvarez. Do you know Bob? He filmed for Dan
yeah,
Hernandez
yeah.
for a time. Long hair, great guy, super good friend of mine. He moved to Arizona, but We had all kinds of fun, man. We went out
sounds awesome.
like on a local guy, commercial fisherman, and fished with him. I do remember one thing though. We were sitting having sushi, and my dad was older then. I took him, and my dad's looking at this sushi, and he's so hungry, and he grabs this ball of wasabi
Oh,
that's this
yeah,
big,
yeah.
and he puts the whole ball of wasabi, and I go, Dad, spit that out. He goes, why? And I go, Dad, spit that out. He thought it was an olive.
Oh,
He was
man.
about to die. Poor guy. All right, Cook Islands. I have some good. Hey, Sam, Phil, Bill Wilkerson in
you
the
go, Bill.
house. Horizon Sport Fishing, H&M Landing. Malahini Sport Fishing, H&M Landing. Bill, it's great to have you on board with us again here tonight. You have a question for Bill, you can type it in there, and Bill will type back a response, I'm sure. Jason, hey, Sam and Phil, I love the show. I have a request or suggestion for Sam. If possible, you can ask Iserline or any
Braid.
braid.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Well, he continues on the next one.
Oh, okay. Manufacturer. Is it possible that he can mark white braid every 100 feet? Because everyone is using a Sharpie, but it's not working as it should, and the colored one is not good at night time. Thanks, guys. Sam.
Yeah. I mean, I'll ask him. That's not a bad thought. I mean, I still think that the colored braid with the multicolor is the easiest to keep track of. Because once you figure out where your 300 or 400 foot color is, and the captain calls out the depth, you just know you got to go to that color. So you're not counting. And the counting sounds like it would be easy, and it is to a degree, but it comes off the reel so fast that it's easy to miss.
Yeah.
It's easy to miss the mark.
Right.
And so you could still be off even with that too. So I understand about the concern about it being tough to see at times on the darker portion of that line. But by and large, the benefit of being able to be very positive on the depth that you're at, I think far outweighs anything else. So yeah, I can ask him. That's actually not a bad thought, but I would say that the multicolor stuff with the 5 colors is still probably the best way to go.
All right, very good. Don't forget morning briefing tomorrow morning, where I have been saying there are copious amounts of bluefin, and someday they're going to bite. Today was that day, at least for the San Diego.
Yeah.
I had a little shot in the wheelhouse of the Pegasus this morning. They had a jig strike. I think it was a bluefin. And, Jacob was telling me, man, we're seeing a lot of fish. Like, we could fill this boat every day for the rest of the year with what we're seeing. So that is encouraging. When it's bleak is when you're not seeing anything, right?
You can't find them. We don't know where they're at. You know,
that's when you
every
start
single
chewing
boat's posting up those pictures of their meters. I mean, they're all just red. Every single one of them. So
once it goes on, man,
it's gonna happen.
You planned your trip perfectly. And hey, anybody out there who's got a trip coming up, man, I'm so happy for you. I think you might be in the driver's seat. Chewy says, I am excited. Also booked on the Legend next week, departing Tuesday. Has room if anybody wants to sign up. Best of luck to you, Chewy. Victor Clark, hi, Sam and Phil. I was wondering if you could do that jig deal again. When you guys first had it, I was still in Arizona for college, but I'm back for summer. Love the channel. Keep it up. Thank you, Victor. The jig deal?
Yeah, we did the buy two, get one.
Oh, yeah.
Jigs,
that jig deal.
Yeah. We might do that. I've been kind of doing a few different things.
Yeah, you got something planned for tonight, or are you kind of waiting?
I kind of just wait to see. A lot of times I'll kind of wait to see what kind of questions get asked and figure out, what people are looking for. But we'll see. We'll see to the end of the show.
Perfect. Christopher Bailey says, I had an Airbnb booked for the 22nd through 27th this month in San Diego, but I canceled and rescheduled for mid-August, hoping the water is nice and toasty by then. I don't think you can go wrong. August should be a great time, Christopher.
Yeah, year in, year out. July, August, September, October is your prime time.
Yeah, for sure. The Tops. Great show. 80-pound reel. What size Talica or what size Vizix? Thanks.
I like the Talica 20. That Talica 16, some guys will try to fish 80-pound with that, but the Talica 20 is going to hold a little bit more line, especially you want to put a 100-pound braid on it. That Talica 20 is really good. And then on the Vizix, the 16 would be the right size. You'll get about 500 to 600 yards on each of those of pretty much 100-pound braid, and that's about the right size line, the right amount of line too.
All right, perfect. Hit that like button, please. I don't want Sam to break into tears before the chicken wings arrive. He gets very emotional that way. So hit that like button, and we should let everybody know, Sam, that the bluefin that we're taking today on board the San Diego, like 30 to 40-pound fish, biting 25 to 40 pound fluoro. He said, Ryan Bostian, Booger, small hooks, number 2 hook was really working well, and a good hot bait, of course.
Yeah. I mean, that daytime fishing, they're full day boats, so they can only fish the day. Even though sometimes they're fishing jigs too, and they're fishing the sinker rig on heavier line, but they get probably a better taste of that fly line daytime fishing. The other boats get it as well, but they have the luxury of fishing at night, where sometimes it's a little bit better bite on the heavy line. But those guys do really good, and when those guys are getting them, usually it's a good chance it's on that light line. So that's something I'm going to have to take too. On this trip that I'm going on. It's going to be everything from 20 pound to 100 pounds, so you got to bring everything in the kitchen sink. So,
Excellent. We zoomed up over 100 people watching awfully early. Usually it doesn't happen until the 7 o'clock hour. So thank you all very, very much. No, it is not. It is Michael Limon in the background photobombing us. We're going to go back at the end of the show and watch it and go, oh my God, what was that kid doing? Somebody called the cops on that kid. Noli Yan, who I just spent 2 days with fishing. Do you know Noli?
Yeah.
What a super great guy.
That's a cool dude.
Love that guy, man. Much love, fellas. Enjoying the show on my drive. I enjoyed all my time with you on that trip. That was really, really special. We had such a good time. And Sam, I know this sounds like BS, but man, the people make the trip.
Yeah.
The crew and then the people you're with.
Yeah.
And we had an exceptional group of really nice people.
Yeah, so often, get guys that ask me, well, how do you pick the dates on your trip? Is it a moon or any of this kind of stuff? And I say, you know what, I really don't. I mean, that almost doesn't really matter to me. I mean, yeah, we want to catch fish, and sometimes you want to tip the odds in your favor. But, if you have a good group, it doesn't really seem to matter, About the only thing that can really mess things up is maybe bad weather or something like that, because people just can't enjoy being out. But if you got a good group, we're so lucky to have the fleet that we have, these big, beautiful boats. God. For the most part, in any kind of mild weather, they're pretty dang stable, and you can enjoy being out there. But, being out on the deck on the way back home, kind of relaxing, enjoying the sunset, that's probably some of the funnest times you have when you're not even fishing at all.
Yeah.
The conversations that you have with people, it's awesome. So, to me, I think that that's one of the reasons that I don't feel like I'll ever get tired of going on these trips. It's about the people. It really is.
Noli was telling me, I'm just sitting inside talking to Danny Cadota, and he is loaded with so much wisdom, and I'm just enjoying every second of it. He didn't say anything like that about me, but Danny Cadota, he was all in on.
He probably didn't talk to you, but yeah, that's the whole deal. Yeah, you don't ever know who you're going to run into, and it seems like the boat, like anything else, right? Like we always talk about the boat burgers, they taste better on the boat.
Yeah, right.
I think the conversations are like that too. It's sometimes you get into a social setting where you might be a little bit shy, or maybe you go to a friend's house or whatever for a barbecue. You may not have that conversation flowing like that, but it seems like the boat really kind of like facilitates that in a big way. And I found that a lot of times you get to talking to people in a different way that you probably wouldn't in the other social settings.
100%. Yeah, that was really good. David Jimenez, howdy, fellas. I'm heading out in 7 days on the Vagabond 2.5-day trip. Good luck to you, David. I have 6 setups, 30 to 100 pounds. Also have 60 to 120 gram Colt Snipers and like 16 jigs, 250 to 500 grams. What else can you guys think of? That is a very good question.
Yeah, I mean,
don't say sunscreen.
The name of the game right now is having a variety of tackles. Like we just mentioned with Ryan on the San Diego is having a variety of tackle. Everything from small hooks, ring hooks, big hooks, J hooks, circle hooks. You really want to go loaded, because you don't ever know on any particular day what the key is going to be, We're all hoping to go out there and to be wide open. It doesn't matter if we're fishing 60 pounds straight and they're biting in the corner. That's what we always want. But the reality is it's still bluefin, and those things can get finicky. Doesn't mean they won't bite, but you're going to have to try to kind of like massage your technique a little bit and maybe go down to a smaller hook or go down to a smaller line. Maybe a longer top shot, shorter top shot, fishing mono, things like that. So I think this is the time of year where you really want to take all the different things that you've heard of things working, and you're going to want to use them, And sometimes jigs are the same way. It could be a knife jig, but it could be a 6X Junior.
Yeah.
It could be a mega bait. It could be, is a Kana jig or whatever like that, So I think it's important to really be outfitted with as many different scenarios as you can. That's the deal. Make sure you got everything.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
All right.
Hey, how are you, my friend?
There they go, right?
Are you the same gentleman that came last?
Is somebody here named Scott?
Yeah, come here a second. Can I shake your hand?
Yeah. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. What's your name?
Daryl.
Daryl, good to see you.
Yeah, y'all get the live.
You're on TV.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know that, right?
Y'all. Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, Daryl, thank you, man.
Anytime. Last
Appreciate
time y'all
it.
had Papa John.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Right.
Hey, Daryl, take care.
Hey, man, y'all keep it up, man.
Appreciate it.
Y'all anytime.
Thank you.
That's for you, Mike.
Great guy, man.
You gotta
I'll
finish
tell you.
that, man.
Daryl, I love Daryl. What a great guy. All right. You know, Sam.
Hey, you want one pizza,
Go
right?
take it over to your grandpa and eat it. Or you can sit there and eat it. We don't care.
You guys
But
can share.
share with your grandpa. Are you going to have some now?
Go for it.
No, I'm good.
you're
I don't
good?
eat pizza.
You asked him to order the pizza. Now you're not
Scott's
gonna eat
getting
any?
chicken wings, too. I'm waiting for the chicken wings.
Oh,
Yeah. All right. Hey, no, let me just make a point here about fishing. Because
yeah.
one thing that you just pointed out, which I think is really sage advice, I always say, hey, you got to have a 2-speed reel, 130 pound, blah, blah, blah. And I do mention the lighter tackle. But you're right. I mean, what if you get into a bite that's really finicky? You do need
Yeah.
that lighter stuff also, right? Go ahead and have a
Yeah.
piece of pizza. I didn't
No, I
want
mean
to
that's
shut you
the whole
up.
deal. Yeah, you got to take, and it's tough because I know that a lot of us will get on we get your taco together. You're like, okay, what do I got to take? And you only can fit so much in your box,
Right.
But sometimes we got to make sure we take out all the stuff that you don't think you're going to use. Maybe like calico plastics or something like that. Maybe things that maybe you're not going to use on your trip. And make sure you take all the hook sizes. Make sure you take all the floral sizes, and maybe even take some mono too. So I think it's important to be well prepared. Not only be prepared, but be open-minded enough at that moment not to get stuck. Sometimes you'll just leave it. You think, well, I don't want to retie. I already need her.
Right
That's
on.
kind of what I'm saying.
You know what? I am having pizza tonight. You know why? Look at He's pulling the sausage off. He doesn't eat the sausage. I can eat the sausage.
You want pepperoni? Yeah. Here you go, man.
Don't spill that pizza now, or I'm going to kill you. All right, let's go on to the next question here. Joe, I hear more and more people are switching to the bottom hooks switching the bottom hooks out on the knife jigs to treble hooks. What are your thoughts on this? Some deckhands don't like it because of the dangers of getting hooked. That's their tough luck. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I would say, that's something that kind of started a couple years ago, and guys were really into it. The idea was that they, oh, man.
Oh, here we go. Look at this
Round
gentleman.
2, yeah. Thank you.
You were gonna pay for it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, hey, could you come here a minute? I want to just shake your hand and say thank you. What's your name?
Eric.
Eric.
Yeah.
You're on live on YouTube with us. Look there. It's a little delayed, but you're number one.
right.
Thanks, man.
Just having a
You have a great evening.
So that's your food, right?
No, I mean, it's for both of us or whatever. How do you figure out which is the Coke Zero here? Because I think he got you a regular one.
I don't know.
Anyway,
So
this is not supposed to be
we're
the
talking
food
ab-
channel,
Yeah,
for
we're
God's
talking
sake.
about treble hooks, So yeah, a couple years ago that started as a thing, and the idea was that if those tuna choke that thing down, it basically gets stuck into their gills and beats them up a little bit faster.
Yeah.
In fact, a lot faster.
Yeah.
So if you could have that happen, especially when we were getting those big tuna a few years ago, we haven't got as many of that super big stuff like we did a couple years ago, but it really did a number on those big tuna. So yeah, it's something that does work, but at the same time, he's right. Depending on the boat, and also even depending on the length of the jig, we get some of these big jigs. If you're gonna do it, I would say just have one on the bottom, just your treble hook on the bottom only. And if you're gonna have hooks on both sides, I probably would do the stingers, and those are easier to kind of like handle. But he's right. That stuff does work. But I don't know if it works any better. I think we get to every year where we're trying this, we're trying that.
Yeah.
It definitely works. I don't know if it works any better.
Right.
So I'll kind of leave it at that.
Okay.
yeah.
I think it's time we take a pause here and remember something that's very important. Scott Buchert is risking his life in Alaska as a commercial fisherman, braving the elements so that you can eat salmon tonight. And he sent all this food here. So, Sam, I say we toast Scott together.
Thank you, Scott.
Scott, we don't want anything to happen to you while you're working up there because nobody else sends us food, right?
That's right.
Yeah, that's right. All right. Good deal. All right, moving right along here. Abraham Esparza. Hey, guys. Again, another great show. Sam, will Speedmaster 25-2 be sufficient enough for BFT?
100%.
Okay.
So the Speedmaster is basically a toned-down version of the Talica. Same gear ratios, same drag, pretty much. I mean, I think it's a little bit less, but still a lot of drag, a lot of line capacity. And up to now, we've been selling those things for I think it's been 4 years now that they've been out. They perform well, so no problem on that.
Is Jeff Joe sending dessert to us? Or he's from the high desert? One of those two. All right, Scott Grant. Oh, I love Scott Grant. Scott was on our trip with us. Phil, did he, Scott, clarify where caught? It's a big ocean. I think you
Albacore.
can win this bet. Yeah, he did, Scott. So here's the stipulation. It has to be caught by a boat out of Southern California or Northern Baja California. So I got a shot on it at least. Glenn,
Thanks, Phil.
you're welcome. I'm trying. Can you figure out which is the Coke Zero or the?
Oh, here, look.
Does it say Coke Zero?
No, but it's got a little button.
Oh, there you go.
It is hard.
Well, which one is it?
This one says cola on it.
Well, this one. Here's Diet.
So this one just says cola.
Okay. All right, I'm drinking this one. What does this one say?
Oh, wait.
Other.
Other. You got to be other for sure.
Anyway, let's see. Glenn Bradley says, "Is it true that albacore follow the anchovies? Any anchovies around? LOL. Where are those long fins?" Yeah, I think they do. Right. That's part of it.
That's part of it, you know. That's part of it. I think it's probably a little bit more complicated than that, you know. But you know, I think what we say or kind of feel is that if there's anchovies around, whatever brings those anchovies also brings the albacore. Not necessarily that
that's
they're
right.
following the anchovy, but I think the conditions that bring one bring the other.
Yeah, that's the cold water that we're seeing.
By the way, sailors.
The winds. Yeah, exactly. Oh, you heard my spiel with that guy Richard earlier, right? They tried to sneak out. Yeah, I mean, if they don't show up this year, I'm going to eat my hat. I got to do. What am I going to
If
do?
you predict it enough, it'll happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
The next. Oh, I don't know if I'm going to live the next
I'm
20
not sure
years. but
enough is what's happened here, but yeah.
Let me just defend myself for 1 second here. Are these things in the way? Last year at this time, it was done. The water got too warm.
Yeah.
This year, it's not done. It
Not on
looks
that.
like it's going to happen.
Not on that variable for
Right,
sure.
that's
100%.
And as Sam is making reference to, there's a lot of variables. All right, Hook to Cook says, "Great show. We thank you so very much." Carlos, you. Hi, Phil and Sam. Great show. Sam, I have 2 accurates, a 30T and a 50W with no line. I'll be fishing bluefin and long-range fishing. I want Isoline Spectra on both. What do you recommend? 135, white, color?
You know, as far as long range, white. Yeah, I mean, the 30T will take about 500 yards or so. That 50 watt will take about, I think, 750 or 800 yards or something like that. So, yeah, you're good on that. Just white Spectra for that long stuff. It's going to be a 135 hollow. And if you could either make a loop and you use wind-ons or do a straight hollow connection. And if you're not familiar with the hollow connections, most of the boats these days are pretty up to date on that. So, you know, they could put on a leader for you. But that's the way I would go with that 130 hollow Isoline.
Are you hungry? Have a bite.
for it.
No, you go ahead. I don't
for
eat
it,
pizza.
man.
I don't eat pizza. All right, I'm back on my thing again. Let's see.
are.
Scott Buchert says food's on the way. Scott, food is here.
More
Thank
food,
you.
huh? Oh.
All right, well, yeah, maybe, right? 540 Slinger, that is Jeff Yeomans. Jeff, thank you for your service. Thank you for being the person that you are. Brian Wynn gave me the recommendation of putting a nail knot with rigging floss to mark the braided line.
Yeah, that's a good one. I know he mentioned that earlier this year as a way of having a tactile marker, meaning that as the line's coming off your reel, as long as you're having the line kind of go through your fingers as it's coming off the reel, if you put a nail knot on the line, you're going to feel that nail knot hit your fingers, basically. So that's just another way, in case you're not paying attention, as that mark comes through, you'll feel that nail knot go on your line. And you could probably use something bigger than rigging floss. You could probably use something like 65 or 80 pound Spectra or something like that. That would work just fine too.
Brian Wynn just did a great show with us. Did you see it? Science and Mechanics of Fighting Big Bluefin Tuna.
I heard
it's great.
I saw it posted.
Yeah,
I gotta watch it.
Yeah, and it's getting really, really a lot of views and everything else. And as usual, Brian is great, man.
Yeah,
I
you guys are
remember the
pro.
guy that introduced me to him.
Who's that?
You.
Oh,
It was at a CCA
Yeah,
event.
yeah,
You
yeah.
should, so.
gotta do this guy here. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. All right, David Jimenez is saying to Hook to Cook, I love your channel. Have you seen Hook to Cook?
I have it now.
HOOK, the number 2, Cook. I'm going to check it out and shoot. We'll do a cooking segment together.
cool.
Yeah, right?
Oh man, we can eat.
Yeah. This whole show is not really about fishing and fishing tackle. It's how Sam and I can scheme and get free food, right?
I'm working every week so
Yeah,
far.
yeah,
we're on a
good.
roll.
We're on a roll here. All right, Isaac, room on the Highliner for Friday. All right, I'm
you
not
go.
sure if he's going or not, but there is room on the
Great
Highliner,
boat,
and they
yeah.
had an exceptional trip the last
Those
time
guys
they
have been
were
getting them.
Yeah, those guys are good. They have a channel, don't they? Some
Yeah, that's
Dirty
the-
Hookers, right?
Dirty Hookers, yeah.
Yeah.
That's when I was talking about that last time.
All right. Good evening, Friedman Adventure family. That is Israel de la Cruz. Good evening. Buenas noches. Victor Clark, sounds good. Hook to Cook. Uh-oh. I got screwed up here. I'm getting back, Sam. Thanks, David.
Thanks, David.
Says, yeah. Sam is very helpful, says OC Farmer.
right, yeah.
A little bit. I mean, what can I say? Travis Bright, the 33-pound yellowtail man. Sam,
There you go.
do you have rod sleeves in stock?
Yeah, we have these. They're 10-foot long, well, actually 9.5-foot long cloth rod covers. Here, let me grab one here. I know we.
Oh, I'll do a
talked about
commercial while you're gone.
it. Okay.
And don't forget, kids fish free out of Ventura Harbor Sport Fishing on Sundays on board the old Matt Walsh, which is now the Californian. 805-676-3474. Sam, take it away.
Need more commercials.
How was that?
That's what I noticed.
Pretty good, right?
Last couple of episodes, you haven't done too many commercials.
I'm going to start slamming them
guys,
out there
you
and
know?
drive these guys nuts with commercials pretty
So
soon here.
these are the rod covers here, and basically,
That looks like, you know what that reminds me of? When I was an altar boy and the priest would,
yeah,
right?
about the same size. So yeah, it's got an opening on one side. It's sewn, pretty simple. Little rod ties there. You wrap it at the end. Or you could actually, depending on how long your rod is, if it's got 8-foot rod or something, it'll go all the way around, and you could wrap it up. So yeah, $9.99. We got these. We got a whole bunch of them.
Efrain Torres. Any thoughts on a slow pitch rod for tuna?
So slow pitch and the fast pitch, we're always talking about this every week here, and yeah, for sure, it's definitely way past a new thing. It's been a few years now. Guys have been doing it with a lot of success.
People are into it.
They're into it for sure. Yeah. In fact, on this trip here, I was just telling you earlier, I'm going to take 2 of those rods over there. Now the rods I'm taking are more of a fast jigging rod than a slow pitch rod. I know we use that word slow pitch a lot, but really. The heavier rods that we're using for tuna are all fast jigging or jigging rods versus the slow pitch rod. But yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm taking United Composites is one of them. It's a CXJ 6005. And then I'm also taking actually a prototype rod that Moon made for me. And so I'll be trying that guy out too. That's actually a rain shadow blank that he put together. So I'm taking those 2. And yeah, I think it's definitely the way to go. Especially we're just talking about trying different things. There are times where that fast jigging technique is what they're going to eat. So I've added it to my arsenal. Something that I always was kind of like pushing away, thinking like, I don't need that. I'll kind of just do what I already know.
Yeah.
But I've just seen it too many times where it's getting way more bites. So I'm
You're sold?
subscribing to it for
All
sure.
right, perfect. Why are we giving Wingstop publicity?
Because it's really good food.
Is it?
Yeah, well, you're going to eat it right now.
Yeah, pretty well after the show, I think.
well-
I don't want to slop stuff all over while I'm doing a show, do I? It hasn't stopped
sloppy
me.
enough
Hasn't
already.
stopped me before. Yeah. OC Farmer. Any more CalStar 100J mags
man.
coming?
So that's that special edition rod, the one that we raffled
Yeah.
or auctioned at the CCA event. So, yeah, I mean, I have them on order. I hope we able to get these things done here in short order. I don't really have a date. So, I wish I could tell you a little more info, but that's been a high demand blank from CalStar, something that we did kind of special. But yeah, I'll try to get those things made. If we do get them made, I'll put it out there, but as of now, I don't have a date right now.
All right, Dezum Duong. If I mispronounce your name, please forgive me. Great guy, though. Always very supportive. Hi, Phil and Sam. Can you explain what it means to say 20, 30, 40, or 50 reel?
Oh,
do
man.
all
They do
manufacturers use the same size designation?
They don't. Let me go grab a
Good
couple
question, by
reels.
the way. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I
that's
can do
one-
some more commercials.
You need a commercial.
Hey,
Yeah.
I just want to mention to you all how grateful I am to each and every one of you. Moving up on 2.4 million views. We're up over 8,000 subscribers now. There's 120 of you tuned in at this time, and this show will go to 1,000 views really quick, almost by the end of the night on a normal night. I want to thank you all very, very much for that. Remind you about Horizon Sport Fishing down at H&M Landing, a proud sponsor of the Friedman Adventures show. Make sure you visit their website and get on a trip with one of the nicest guys in this industry, Bill Wilkerson. You will absolutely love it. Are you back?
I'm back.
All right, cool.
So I was gonna bring a whole bunch of reels, but I think what I'm bringing here is one brand. This is Penn, but it's the same kind of thing applies to all the brands. So there's two basic, and I haven't really talked to them to really get the exact, data on this, but I've been working in tackle long enough that this has been my observation. The international reel here, so this is an international 30, the new VISX here, but this is the size that we would call a 30 international. It's been the same forever.
Yeah.
Even 25 years ago, international 30 was about this size.
Same size.
Same size, right? Nowadays, it seems like they're doing a lot more, especially on their smaller reels, because everything's gotten smaller.
Yeah.
Is that this is also a 30 from them, but this is more based on line capacity. Now, back in the day, an international 30 was a IGFA rated 30-pound reel, but we're talking 100 years ago,
Right.
Almost 100 years ago now.
Yeah.
But that's what you would use for 30-pound tests.
Right.
Now the line's gotten better. We're using Spectra now and things like that. So not to say that these are equal, but I would say that this one here is probably more capable than a international 30 from 100 years ago.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I would think
Two-speed,
so.
light,
Yeah.
has a lot more drag, that
Yeah.
kind of thing. Obviously, these are a lot better than the old international. So, but to keep things in line for the form factor, the size of the reel, these have stayed the same as far as the sizing of it. So you have smaller reels down to a 12, and all the way up to a 130. The kind of stuff you see like on Wicked Tuna or something like
Yeah.
that. The big giant
Is there more food?
reels. Oh yeah.
Oh, what is going on here?
No, we're not. Sorry, man. Yeah.
How you doing, Sam?
Good.
I've been watching you guys, man. I had
Hey, thank you.
Watching us right now. Yeah.
Thank you, my friend. Appreciate it.
We'll be back at 10 in the morning, man. Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
Sorry about that.
That's no problem.
Alrighty.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
man.
You know Sam's got a popular store. They're pounding the door down, trying to break in. Just so they can. And Dan, thanks for having that background noise out there. That's always a big help to us when we're trying to work here.
Sorry about that, man.
That's all right.
Real
That's
bad.
great, man. You got people pounding the door.
Yeah, it's busy.
Where were we?
So we're talking about
Oh,
this
yeah.
international 30 right
Yeah.
here. So now this guy here, this is a Penn Fathom 30. Now they have a Fathom 30 lever drag, star drag, and other reels. Now these here, the way that these are designated is that this will fill with 300 yards of that size. So this is a 30, so it'll take 300 yards of 30-pound mono.
Okay.
So that's the sizing. This is a 40, next size up, will take 300 yards of 40. So now we're talking more basic sizing on the smaller reels. The same thing goes with all the other brands. Their older style reels, their bigger reels
Yeah.
are going to be kind of one system. And then the smaller reels are going to be a different system. So as you're looking and trying to figure out, really what you're going to be looking at is going to be line capacity as far as what you want to use.
Yes.
And typically, when we're talking this tuna, this has kind of been the topic today so far, is you want to have at least total about 400 to 500 yards of total line between
Yeah.
your backing and your top shot. And that would be a minimum. You could have more than that. And so whatever your reel specification calls for, if you want to use 80-pound braid, you want to make sure the reel will take that much. Now, most of the reels will have both a mono capacity on the website and then also a braid capacity. So we're really looking more at the braid, and like I said, about at least a 400 yard capacity. With most guys really going into 500 or 600 yards, maybe 500 being what most people do.
Yeah.
But I would say minimum 400 yards of that, and that's what you want to look at. So yeah, the sizing is a little confusing. When you get to the big stuff, a Tiago 30, which is like the big Shimano, will be
Right.
about the same size. A Macairo 30 will be about the same size, and the bigger reels, we'll call them trolling reels, even though we're not really trolling with them. And then the smaller bait size is going to be more of a line capacity size.
Okay, perfect. I think that answers that question perfectly. Thank you. Daniel Leanos. Hey, gang, watching right now, and we'll be done with work in a bit. Daniel, thanks for tuning in, my friend. 121 people watching. Mark, hi, Phil, Sam. I'm going fishing this Friday on the San Diego. Good choice, man. What jig do you recommend I use for catching bluefin or forkies?
Yeah, that
Yellowtail.
that's for the tuna. It's going to be more of a kind of fishing the slide or fishing on the drift. You're going to be a Zakana or a Cold Sniper, about 100 gram. Call it 80 to 130. As far as the size jig. I would recommend if you're going to use it on heavier line, is change out the hook. A 1.0 ST66 owner hook is the most common. In fact, the owner rep was in this morning, and we were just talking shop, but he just told me that just a couple days ago, guys on the Royal Star got a 150 pounder on one of those 1.0 treble hooks. So,
Really?
yeah, those things are super tough, man. So, and I know they use that hook a lot on that boat already. So I know they've caught a lot of big fish on it. But yeah, just a couple days ago, they got a really big one. But you make sure you want to use those stronger hooks on those jigs.
Go ahead.
Yeah, as far as a yellowtail, depending on where they go, I know there's still a lot of kelp patty fish and things like that. That same jig will probably work for that too. But if you want to throw in a surface iron, Tatty C, Tatty 45. Something like that, Salas 7X, 7X Junior would be fine too.
All right, good stuff. Sam, do you agree with me that obviously, but I really think the best fishing, I really think we're going to have one heck of a summer and fall. I just think that there's so much fish around, and the reason it's not biting is water temper. Once we get into that warm water cycle, man, it's going to get insane. And if this El Nino manifests itself later on in the fall, we could just roll right through January easily.
I mean, we've had so many years of it now that
I know.
we get to feel like it's normal, right? And in general, just human psychology, I think that when things start rolling, you just kind of expect it to roll, right? And so I'm coming into the season figuring that something's going to happen and things are going to turn around and it's going to be great again, But I mean, how can you not say that it already hasn't been? It's all this halibut and sea bass and the yellows are starting to bite a Catalina.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes we want a certain kind of situation to occur, but sometimes you got to fish for what's biting.
That's right.
And I think if you do that, you're going to find that it's actually been already a pretty good start. The tuna has been a slow start. Those guys have had some trouble kind of locating them and getting on them. But that's all coming. The fish is still filtering in.
Yes.
And until something happens to make it stop, I can't really see anything that's going to change that a whole lot.
Yeah, I agree. Sam is right about those yellows at Cat. One score I heard while I was at 22nd Street today, the Native Son had 10. I believe the Thunderbird fishing San Clemente Island today was out there at San Clemente out of Davies Lager. I think he had a dozen fish out of 20
I think the
hookups.
Pursuit had like 15 sea bass or something.
Yeah,
like that
he had
yesterday.
just the other day. Yeah.
Jeez, man, that's crazy.
I know, right?
I mean, never, ever before this period that we're having now, I've never even heard of 15 sea bass on a three-quarter day boat.
Yeah, I know.
Never.
I know.
And it's like not rare anymore.
I know.
It just isn't. So,
I know.
Like I said, I mean, I don't know. We're having pretty dang good fishing.
Yeah, and I caught myself in the morning briefing this morning talking about this guy, Chris Nakashi, and he was on the Royal Star and he had a 170-pound bluefin. Put the photo up and everything. And I was like, yeah, it was a slow trip, and because it was.
Yeah.
But at
Total
the same
fish.
time, I
Yeah.
wanted to kick myself because, I mean, someday, I hope not, but someday those are going to be gone.
Yeah.
And a 170-pound bluefin on
Yeah.
a 3-day trip or whatever it was, that's
Yeah.
amazing.
In 20 years, when this stuff's all gone, and they catch one 170-pound bluefin for the whole fleet, it's going to be big.
People are
news.
going to be jumping up and down.
Yeah. And that's how it was when it first started.
Yeah.
When it first started to happen, it was crazy. Just like you said, you were still in China or whatever when it first started going. But yeah, I still remember when the Freedom got their first 100-pounder. I mean, it must have been 9 years ago now. I mean, I was going crazy. I actually went down to the landing, took pictures of it because I just couldn't believe.
Yeah, right.
I mean, at that time, we never have any idea it's going to be lasting this long.
Right.
But I just knew this was such a special occurrence.
You had to go photograph it.
Yeah,
Right.
And so now I think about it like, man, how much of this have we had? Doesn't seem like it's going away. I mean, guys are still catching 100-pounders now. So I think we're having a good of it. To me, we're already past that threshold of it's a great season.
Yeah, right.
But we expect a lot. I get it. We do expect a lot with what we've had. But to me, compare that to 20 years ago, pretty darn good start. I mean.
God, yeah.
Yeah.
So, exactly right. Gilbert Ibanez, loving the show. Gilbert, thanks for joining us, my friend. Can you show a tackle box setup or various combinations on how to set it up? In years past, it always seemed that I was missing something. Thanks.
That's a
Show. That's a whole show, right?
That's a whole show, yeah.
We could do that, right?
Yeah.
Sometime.
Yeah, I think that's
a
not
good
bad
idea.
Yeah,
Actually.
I mean, it's organization. Yeah, take the time to organize. I'm gonna go grab one box that I think that if you haven't seen it, I know and it's not nothing brand new. But if you haven't seen it, I think you guys need to see it. So
All right,
we'll
perfect.
grab one box.
Sam's going to run and do that. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about moon phase, weather, and water temperatures. They all are really coming together right now, and it's looking like you're going to see some explosive activity up there in the Channel Islands. Keep your eye on the Endeavor, the Aloha Spirit, the Mirage, the CJ. I'm going to leave somebody out. Keep your eye on that zone. That's going to be good. And I think Catalina could be very good here in the next coming nights. And also, Clemente is showing great signs of life. And if you happen to not be doing anything tonight, Michael, there is a Grunion run tonight and tomorrow night. So that's always a lot of fun to take the kids out and let them see it. However, we're on the third night tonight, so it's a little bit later. If I had to guess without looking, I'd say 11:30ish would be a good time to be on a beach to see those little devils come up and do their thing in the surf. Sam.
Alrighty, so most of the bags that are available today are using these Plano style trays. Flambeau makes some other brands too, but one of the things I would say is to invest in a variety of trays. So now they got like something like this. We didn't have this before, totally open tray. So
Right.
if you got maybe some larger items, tools, things like that, you might get something like that wouldn't fit in the other bags. So what we end up doing, we just throw it up on top. And so what ends up happening there is before you know it, you got too much stuff on top.
Yeah,
and you
right.
can't- So make sure that you go and shop around for the different size trays. The other thing here is this is kind of more of what we normally see, been around forever. This kind of tray here, you got the dividers and you just put them in there. One of the things now that happens is that, the hook bags that come in, they're so handy because they're airtight. Pretty much every brand uses the same style of bag. The only problem is that it just doesn't really fit, so you end up squeezing the package and kind of trying to get it in there. You just don't get that much in there.
Yeah.
So one of the things that is on the market, it's actually been out for some time if you haven't seen it, and maybe I'm just kind of showing something everybody knows about, but this is a Gamakatsu G-Box. So the deal with this guy, you think, well, it's the same kind of problem. Well, with these, you can actually remove the big divider. Yeah.
Make more
so
room.
now you can get your customize your dividers, and these could be, moved actually in a lot of different spots. It's kind of hard to see on camera, I'm sure, but there's about 50 different little slots here that you can put this thing in. And like I said, it's not new to the world, but definitely since it came out, this is pretty much all I use now because you can customize your dividers. And what that does is that you can now put all your hooks in one box and you can keep them in the package, keep them organized, and you know what it is. Sometimes we take them all out of the package, we throw them in there.
Yeah, right.
You don't even know what
It's
you
a
have.
mess,
They're all
right?
messed up. They get all rusty.
What a mess.
So this stuff here will keep you organized. So if you guys are starting to organize your tackle, getting ready for the season, check these out. In fact, I need to order some more. I think I'm only down to like 5 or 6 left here. But this is the G-Box from Gamakatsu.
All right, I love it. Very good.
Simple little thing.
Excellent. Victor from Ensenada, Baja California, from Blackfin Sport Fishing. Could you please tell that kid in the back to sit up straight so people can see my logo? Whoa. Yeah, I didn't even notice. Oh, yeah. He's talking to you. You can't see Blackfin on there. Just kidding. Victor's not on here. All right, Mark, nothing wrong with cheese pizza. He's picking all the, whatever he's picking off it. Chewy, the Coke Zero will have one of the bubbles pushed in on the lid.
Both of them did, but
I actually need people to
We'll figure it
explain
out.
this
Yeah,
as how
yeah.
dumb I am. I'm serious. Thank you. Actually, Bill Wilkerson, had I known you were on tonight at Sal's shop, I would have come by.
That'd have been cool.
Now back in Oceanside. Yeah, at Sam's shop.
yeah.
Yeah, Bill, we're on every Tuesday night.
Except next Tuesday.
Except next Tuesday.
Yeah. Well, you can be on by yourself. Maybe Bill can come down.
Yeah.
Well, I won't be here,
Can
though.
we do it here?
I don't know.
You got to get Eric or somebody to
yeah,
stay
yeah.
late. Yeah, perfect. Bill, we're on most every Tuesday night.
Most every Tuesday.
Yeah, I used to be on Tuesday night with my own thing doing interviews, but Sam took it over because this show is really good.
It's fun. It's
really
fun.
good, man. All right, Turbo T2 checking in from Fort Worth,
Tyler.
Texas tonight. Copious amounts of yeehaw for all. I love it. Good stuff, man. Christopher Bailey, questions on making bait. I sometimes struggle to locate the greenback mackerel. Is there a particular color of sabikis or technique that works best for those little greenback devils?
Yeah, I kind of do have a favorite.
Really?
Sabiki, yeah. Let's we'll grab it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
it's-
definitely.
You
An
know,
excellent question.
doesn't seem like it would
Christopher.
matter, but
He's off doing that. I'll remind you all again, since Bill Wilkerson just dropped in, that Bill is a proud sponsor, and we're proud to have him on board. Friedman Adventures, Horizon Sport Fishing, out of H&M Landing, the Malahini out of H&M Landing. You will have a ball when you fish with Bill. It is so much fun. And don't forget, 22nd Street Landing in beautiful San Pedro, California. They have a slew of boats ready to take you out and help you to realize your fishing dreams. 310-832-8304. Take it away, Sam.
All right, so-
Man, these commercials are good tonight. I think I'm hitting these, right?
right in stride. So this is a Hayabusa Sabiki here. You know, it's not the only brand that makes it like this specifically, but this is the one that I've had a lot of luck with. I don't know if you guys can see on the camera there, but it's got that kind of
I'll
metallic
hold it for you.
tinsel on there.
Yeah.
You know? So there's the different sizes and stuff like that, but that's about the right size. The one thing I like about those is they're also pretty well made, so they don't tear off too bad. But that tinsel, I don't know what it is about it, especially on my long range trips. Man, I feel like I have the best luck with them, you know. And as far as the technique, the way I do it is as you know, I'll kind of like underhand cast out a little bit, because sometimes as you're doing it, you don't want to go into the boat, especially if you get a mackerel or something right away, it might swim under the boat. But I'll kind of underhand cast, get it about 15, 20 feet out away from the boat. And as I'm dropping, they'll kind of tell you on the boat. Typically, they'll tell you, where they're at. If you're doing it on your own boat, hopefully you see them on the meter. But as I'm dropping it, I'll kind of like grab the spool and I'll stop it and I'll kind of bounce it, and then 4 or 5 times, and then keep going down and bounce it 3 or 4 times, and going all the way down to the bottom typically, unless you're getting some of that junk fish. Sometimes you get like lizard fish and things down there at the bottom, but that's basically what I'll do. And as I'm going up, I'll wind it 4 or 5 times, kind of balance it, wind it up 4 or 5 times, about halfway up, and then repeat the process. So bouncing it, using a rod that you can do that with, I think is important. But you want to put some movement into it, but nothing really different than that, except for bouncing it and then letting it go out, bounce it, let it go out. Yeah, that's kind of been my technique.
That is excellent stuff. 132 people watching right now.
New record.
I think it might be.
Yeah.
It's getting up there. I say we might hit 200 tonight. Come
200
on.
people watching?
Bring it on.
Ooh, man.
Yeah, why not, man? Hit that like button if you don't mind, please. That really helps us in the algorithm. And God only knows, the algorithm is important to Friedman Adventures. All right, let's see. David Alcantar. No question here, going on a 3-day tomorrow. Wish us luck, tight lines, and lots of albacore. David, you're going to get the bluefin, man. And I hope you get that first albie of the year, because then Scott is screwed. Scott says, eat up, enjoy.
He won't let me.
Yeah, no, go ahead. You just put me on a rant for 10 minutes, and then you eat, and then I'll put you on one, and I'll eat. How's that? For these two guys, they're eating everything inside here. Look, there he goes.
We got plenty.
He's
to
covering up the logo again. Poor Victor down there at Blackfin, man. Hook to cook. At David Alcantar, albacore, question mark, must be nice. Phil, any albacore news? Same old hook to cook. We're just waiting. It's early. It's still early. But in terms of all the conditions that we have looked at, it looks like it's going to happen to me. And I have been wrong for the past 2 years, so what's another year of being wrong?
Yeah.
Go for it. Sam. All right, Albert Ponce, Alberto. Good evening, fellas. Albert, miss you, man. We got to get together again. I had lunch with him, I want to say 2 weeks ago. It's probably a month. The way time flies and things are crazy, but we got to do that again. Isaac just sent us $20, man, for a super chat. Thank you so much, Isaac. We deeply appreciate it. I can't thank you enough. DBCFR. Okay.
All right.
Hi, Phil and Sam. All our best to you. Excuse me, Isaac. Dan, get some hooks while you're there. LOL.
Well, I'm always using his.
Oh, Dan is over here. He's the one that's making all the noise in the background. In case you hear any background noise, he's waving me off now. All right, Slam and Sammy. I love Slam and Sammy. Hello, Phil Friedman, Sam, and everyone. I got an HX Raptor with 80 hollow braid. I am going on 2.5 day next week on the Sea Adventure 80. Should I bump up on braid size? What do you recommend?
No, you're good. Yeah, 80 pounds is good. 80-pound haul, that's good stuff, yeah. If you just kind of feel like you want to change it, if it's your unless you don't have a bigger reel. But I would say 80 pounds fine. I mean, I've seen a lot of big fish caught on 80 pound. You're good.
Do you want some French fries? I just found French fries.
All right, there you go.
Yeah.
No, I'm good.
Michael's having. You should have seen his eyes light up when I handed him those French fries. All right, Blue Skies is another great supporter of the Friedman Adventures show, and we deeply appreciate it. Sam, do you know the JX and the HXJ Avid is held on by only 2 thread on the lug that goes into the body of the reel? I contacted Avid, and they said that's just the way they're built.
Yeah. It doesn't sound like a lot. I mean, you know, it's probably more than 2 turns. It's probably 2 whole threads, which is about, I think, at least the width of the screw, you know, but to my knowledge, I've never heard of one of those things coming out. So, you know, it doesn't sound like a lot, and it may be something that might concern you, but from what I've seen over the past 25 years that those reels have been out, never heard of one coming loose. So I wouldn't be concerned with it.
Nope, yeah. All right, well, that's good
Never.
news.
So,
All right, sounds good to me. 135 people watching now, starting to edge toward 200. That's a long way from 200. Hey, and thanks for all the likes, everybody. Keep hitting that like button up to 73 already here this evening. All right, let's go to one fish at a time. Hi, guys. ATD 50 rail rod recommendations that I can also troll for tuna.
now, depends if you're trolling on a sport boat or on a party boat. I mean, your own private boat. But I would say anything in that 7 foot, 80 to 130, 80 to 150. You know, like United Composites, Viper. You know, CalStar 770, 2XH. You know, a Seeker 2x4, something like that. You'd be good. In the Rain Shadow, RCTB 76, 4XH. Any of those rods would be good. I mean, there's actually a few more out there. There's probably 25 rail rods now that people make, but something like that would be good. Yeah.
Rocket Dog sends his best to you, me, and everybody here, as well as our audience, the Friedman Adventure family. Thank you, Rocket. Rick Slater. Rick, good to see you, my friend. Trolling for white sea bass. We used to catch them on diving bomber long A's off the wall and inside bays too. Can you troll Lucky Crafts? I imagine you could.
There are
really
some
slow,
that,
right?
Yeah, there's some that you control. They have like deep diver ones.
Yeah.
I think those would probably be all right. I don't know if they make them as big as those ones that he's talking about, but they probably do. I mean, Lucky Craft has like a million different products, but I think that'd be okay. I mean, it doesn't have to be a Lucky Craft. I mean, it could be something like a Rapala or something like that. But he's right. I mean, that white sea bass we always associate with squid.
Right.
But they eat mackerel, they
course.
eat smelt, they eat all that stuff. So nothing to say that they wouldn't eat a trolled lure as well. So.
You were talking last week about those guys who get those giant tankers on the coast. A lot of times they fish mackerel.
Yeah, they're fishing mackerel. So,
Yeah.
you know, you just don't hear about people doing it. Doesn't mean it doesn't work, though, for sure.
Perfect. I did visit Eddie Leland yesterday. We went for a nice walk for almost a mile around. And so just want to reiterate to everybody, he does need your thoughts and prayers, and he appreciates everything. So he's in a battle with prostate cancer. He's a captain that ran boats out of here for decades. Super good friend of mine, super good friend of Sam's. And you remember the one day, here's an Eddie Leland memory at Island Fishing Tackle.
Yeah.
Eddie is here, and he's talking about the barge. And he's talking about these outstanding catches and these incredible things. You can find that video in the Friedman Adventures YouTube channel. And he's going, and there's 20 people in here, and they're mesmerized, and they're all looking, including yours truly. And then finally, Sam walks up to me and says, "Why aren't you filming this?" And I said, "Oh my God, you're right."
Yeah.
And then I just started filming and came out with this great thing. So he's a great guy, and he's having a little bit, he's in a rough patch right now, so we need to keep him in our thoughts and prayers for sure. Albert Ponce, hey Sam, I have a question for those who have white or any solid color braid like me and want to mark the line every 100 feet. What is your recommendation? I say spray paint. Does that work?
Probably wouldn't be a bad idea. But yeah, I mean, most guys are using a Sharpie. Other guys using a fabric marker. I guess the fabric marker sticks to the spectra a little bit better. But yeah, one of the things you want to really kind of take note of is when you're marking your line, do your best to let that mark dry. and also even blot it dry as much as possible. One of the problems that you have with marking your line is that it'll bleed onto the rest of the line. So if you don't dry it, that's going to happen for sure. Excuse me, for sure. But you just be warned that those marks just don't last forever. You know, as you're fishing, and it's going through the water, and you got, a current and just movement of the water. It does kind of like like make them go away a little bit, and also kind of bleed. So you might have to flip your line over, mark the other side, stuff like that. But my ultimate recommendation would be to cut off a bunch of line and tie on some meter line. You don't have to replace all of your line. So I know most people just want to save their line. They don't want to throw away a bunch of line, but you don't have to. You could cut off a bunch of it, splice on some meter line, and then top it off with that. Usually about 200 yards is about what you want to have. So that would be my ultimate recommendation. But if you want to mark your line, either a Sharpie or fabric marker.
And at the end of today's show, please correct me if I'm wrong, you're going to have some discount here at Island Fishing
Yeah.
Tackle. So stay tuned, because last week, Travis Bright, the guy that caught the 33-pound yellowtail,
Yeah.
he said he came in here and got the glasses for
Yep.
25% off.
Yep, we sold a bunch of sunglasses. Actually.
Yes.
That was cool.
So I mean, I saw the feedback immediately because he was bragging to Bob Gifford on the trip. Hey, I got these, man, 25% off. And
yeah.
So I guess maybe Wingstop or is going to be the password or whatever.
think
Who
of
knows?
something,
We'll
yeah,
think
yeah.
of it, right? Maybe Blackfin
Maybe
because
blackfin. We'll make it blackfin. Whatever it is, it'll be blackfin.
yeah, because we got to get him to stand on the chair for the
Yes.
rest of the show. Then, Michael, where are you going? All right, here we go. Isaac says no fishing this weekend. Going on vacation with the family. That's
Awesome.
understandable, right?
That's awesome.
Be truthful now.
Yeah, it is. That's
Dump
awesome.
the family, go fishing? Is that what you
No. That's
would
awesome
say
that you're going with a family.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah,
I'm just
yeah.
kidding. You know that.
guy
140
over here.
people watching, 81 likes. Hit that like button. Thank you. Jorge Arellando. Hey, guys, as a lefty looking for a cow reel, I'm limited to the Abbott XEX and Accurate ATD. Is the ATD really worth over double the price?
That's a personal question, really. They are more expensive, but like anything else, when you're buying a Mercedes or something like that, you have to really want it. I have a couple of ATDs, and I mean those things are so smooth, they're so nice. But I mean it's a fair question. I mean, guys, when you're going to be buying a reel like this International 30, I've caught a lot of big fish on my 30,
Yeah.
and it works really good. And I've caught a lot of big fish on my ATDs, and those work really good. I will say that the ATD, by and large, is a little bit smoother at a high drag setting, but only by a certain percentage. It's definitely not twice as good. And sometimes we look at that in the wrong way. If it costs twice as much as you're supposed to get twice as much back. It's not like you're going and buying a pound of apples. I mean, when you buy 2 pounds, it costs twice as much. It's not the same argument. It just costs that much more to make them the way that they make them. And that being said, I mean, I think from the question, I would say that you're probably best with that Avid. The Avid's going to be a little heavier, but not by much. That EX definitely does the job. I definitely wouldn't shy away from that. It's caught a lot of big fish. I know a lot of the boats use them as their boat reels, and they do real good. So, yeah, that question is not really a fair question, because if you want the most, sophisticated reel, that's the Accurate. That's just what they cost. Is it worth it? It is if that's what you want.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of dancing.
It's a
around it.
better reel.
It's a better reel.
But the other reel will suffice.
More than
is what-
suffice.
More than suffice.
More than suffice,
So
yeah.
that comes down to personal preference at that point.
Yeah. You buy the highest trim line of a truck. I mean, a $100,000 truck. Is it better than a $50,000 truck? No, it still gets you down the road, but maybe you want some of the creature comforts of that truck, and that's just what it costs to get.
Yeah.
I mean, so that's kind of in a way a simplified way to do it, but yeah. I don't know if I answered the question.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, perfect. Albert Ponce, hit that like button, fellas. Thank you, Albert. Appreciate you looking out for us. And please hit that David Guzzi. I've got 2 30-pound sea bass.
Wow.
Lost 3 on the gale force on Sunday. Wide open ADT stop of the day for an HR. Some of these
an hour.
abbreviations.
For an
For an hour. Yeah, there you Gave my second fish, and that's because I'm a moron, not because he's fishing, by the way. Gave my second fish to the boat, limits for 12 people. Yeah, Gale Force had a great trip. We reported it on the morning briefing. It was really a great trip.
Yeah, tough fishing, huh?
Yeah, no kidding, man.
this-
Freaking sea. Oh, yeah, really.
Yeah.
Hey, I didn't say that about the sea bass.
No, in general, though, this is pretty freaking crazy.
I know. You know, we're spoiled.
You
right?
are, yes.
But you are.
Yeah, I'm not. I mean, I'd say it every day. This is great.
I'm with you, but
Great
I try.
fishing.
Look, I'm walking a fine line here. I don't want to mislead anybody and tell them, hey, it's freaking crazy out
That's
there.
their fault, you know, if they don't think it's great. This is pretty freaking good fishing.
All
There's
right.
no guarantee, though.
Right.
It's still fishing.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, you do have a shot at a lot of great fish right now. This
Right.
halibut bite this year is just silly. I saw the deck of the Endeavor. He must have had 40 halibut and 40 sea bass on a trip up there out of Ventura Harbor sport fishing.
Yeah.
It was
It's the kind of
mind-boggling.
pictures you would see black and white. When I was growing up, you see a black and white picture for a brochure for a landing about how it used to be. Those were the pictures you saw,
Yeah.
you know, and you would think, wow, that was like, 50 years ago. 50 years ago, that's what you saw, you know. And
Yep.
That's what we're going through right now, you know.
Ventura Harbor Sport
Yeah.
Fishing, 805-676-3474.
They're
They're
getting
getting them, and they are a proud sponsor of the Friedman Adventures. I'm proud to have them. Dan Smith, Captain Bill, is the Horizon running trips. Kim and I thought we seen her a week ago or so as we were running in. Yeah, they're running
Yeah.
trips for sure if Bill doesn't come back, but I'm sure he will. Joe Valerio, I had my Visix 20 marked with thin red colored braid tied directly to my white 130-pound JB using a uni knot. It passes through the guides without an issue.
Yeah, it's the same as that nail knot. Same deal. Uni knot. Same kind of thing.
So Noli Oshiro, this is how far behind we are in the questions, obviously. This is really going to drive me nuts. 120 people watching, only 23 likes. And we have 89 likes now and 130. So oh my God, we got a lot of questions to go.
Let's go.
As you look at me, by the way, do you think that I'm healthy tonight, or what would you guess? I'm sicker than hell.
Are you?
Yeah, I've been sick for 2 days.
Man.
Fighting it, man.
What's wrong with you?
I don't know. Just think
Get with it.
think how I would be on the show if I were well. All right. Dwayne Williams. Hello, Phil and Sam. Is that Dwayne that comes in here once in a while?
Could be.
Yeah, I think it might be. Hello, Phil and Sam. He goes on the Endeavor a lot. And crew,
Okay.
got a new Shimano Speedmaster 220. Your recommendations for a rail rod for using as a sinker rig and possibly knife jig.
So, one of the questions I always ask people, if this is going to be your biggest rig, you want to have a little bit heavier rod. That size 20 is a very capable reel, and it can handle a really big fish. But it kind of also depends on where it falls in your lineup. If it's your biggest rod, I would get something rated 60 to 130, 80 to 130, something like that. Definitely where the top rating is above 100 pound. So rather than a 60 to 100, a 60 to 130 or 80 to 130, something in that range. And pick your choice of brands. Stick with the bigger brands. And if you want to get something that's a little bit more affordable, that Graphtec is really good. And even Phoenix, I think they're around $350 or so, something like that for those, maybe $350 to $400. And then if you want to get some of the top of the line stuff, we were just talking about prices and what you're paying for. But at CalStar United Composites, top of the line rods, they have the same type of options there in a 60 to 130, 80 to 150 kind of range.
All right, very good. I'm screwed up on my thing here again. Hold on. Oh, I got it.
The tops.
The tops. Any recommendations on a jig-only bag for all the knife jigs?
Yeah, this is the one right here.
Yeah, we got it. Just knew you were going to ask that question.
I know. So this is the one from Nomad. This is the one that I kind of was showing on that instructional video that we did.
Oh, right. That was a great one. That got a lot of
last year.
views.
Yeah. So as you can see, all the jigs stay in there no matter what. Pretty nice guy here, nice bag, and it'll hold a ton of jigs. And this is kind of a bag that I'm starting to get ready for next week. And it'll also hold, this is the most common question that I get, is that, how big of a jig will it hold? And so this is the 500 gram
Oh, there you go.
grip roller.
Yeah.
That's typically as big as you're going to go. And it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's got 6 pockets on each side. But as you can see, you could put 2 or 3, 4 jigs, depending on the jig, in each pocket. So by the time you load this thing down, it's probably almost too heavy to carry. But if you want to go with a single jig on each pocket and you still want to carry more jigs, they sell an insert that you can stick here. There's a little Velcro deal here, and so you would attach it there. But it's got a nice carrying handle. It also has this pocket on the outside here to kind of put all your extra hooks, split rings, leaders, things like that. So it's kind of a nice all-in-one bag that you can carry separately, and also have it separate from your tackle on deck too, and kind of keep that stuff all ready to go.
Yeah, it's a great way to organize
Yeah.
things, and being organized pays off in more fish.
Oh yeah,
Right?
yeah. Knowing what you have, where it's at, and when you see something change, and maybe a crew member tells you, "Hey, this is working or that's working," you know exactly where it's at. You can get to it and get it in the water.
Yeah, absolutely. Tim Knott says, what's up with the 14-mile bank? It was epic in 2022. Just not time yet, right?
Yeah,
It
yeah.
might
We're
load up
ready
again
on that.
this year.
Yeah, yeah.
And don't forget, Tim, fish don't have a calendar. They're feeling the water temp. They're reacting to all of those different factors. So I think that's what's going on. JB Gamma. Hi guys, love the show. I'm a former SoCal guy, now living
Awesome.
in Tejas. Hey, thanks for joining us from Texas. Really appreciate that very, very much. Rocket Dog, what size do the Gamakatsu tackle boxes come in?
Well, they do a lot of different sizes, but as far as this kind of ultimate customizable box, it's the 3600 size. That's really the size that probably more applies to what we're talking about, trying to have a lot of tackle in a small package. When you get into the bigger boxes, you're going to have a lot of room, and so you don't need as much of the customization. And they make other boxes that have different configurations, but in this small size, the really kind of more of a medium size 3600 size box, that's probably the most applicable to most tackle bags out there. But the one that I was showing you, that's a 3600, and I think with that level of customization, I think that's the only one that they make in that size. I'll have to look back again. There might be some other ones. You probably check their website on gamakatsu.com. Sure.
Perfect. Christopher Bailey says, thank you, Sam, for sharing. William Wilkerson, that is Captain Bill Wilkerson, our dear friend from the Horizon, down there at H&M Landing and the Malahini. I have a Taipan slow pitch rod, pairs with a Pin 25. I use submission slow pitch jigs. Dude, they are deadly with this setup.
There you go.
There, you
That's
can't
good
get any
stuff.
better than Bill, right?
Yeah, man, that guy's on the water every day.
Manuel Montaño. As a beginner, is it okay to bring a heavy spinning setup for a yellowtail? Manuel, thank you
1000%.
for asking that question. Sam.
Yeah, we sell more and more spinning outfits. In fact, I mean, I take some spinning outfits too when we go. You know, that yellowtail is something that actually at times, you know, fishing a bait might be a better way to go. You know, it might present a bait farther.
I think you can.
Yeah, especially for a beginner, you can get a bait out way farther. I would imagine, you know, I haven't been out there myself, but just from seeing the reports of these yellowtail at Catalina, mostly light line fish, I got to imagine most of them are going to be fish that are out away from the boat.
Right.
You got to make a long cast. From the pictures that I see, the guys that have caught them, guys that are experienced, guys that have long rods, and they're making a long cast. So, you know, I would imagine especially for a beginner, I would actually say you probably would for sure want a spinner. You say heavy spinner, I actually probably wouldn't even go with that heavy of a spinner. Something in the 6,000 size or so, filled with braid, maybe 40-pound braid, and maybe an 8-foot rod at least, maybe 8 to 9-foot rod, and with some 20-pound leader, you know. But that's going to be the way to go. You're definitely going to get bit way better on it.
Yeah, and Manuel, to be perfectly candid with you, and Sam will back me up on this, I hope. You can catch 40 to 60-pound bluefin with the right kind of spinning gear,
No
right?
problem. You know, generally the big hurdle is that as you get to a bigger fish is, you know, this newer size, you know, smaller reels, they have a 2-speed option, which you don't have with a spinning reel. So the reel will handle it, no problem. It's harder to bring in, you know, so it isn't a matter of the gear not holding up.
Right.
The gear holds up just fine.
Has sufficient drag and everything,
More
right?
than enough drag, more than enough line capacity, all that kind of stuff. The only thing that you're going to find that is going to be a hurdle is that it's a single speed reel.
Yeah.
So even a single speed reel, it's going to be harder to bring in
Right.
than a 2-speed reel.
Right.
So that's your hurdle. But as far as it being able to do it, 100%, no problem.
Perfect. Great question, Manuel, and good luck. Get out there and do it, and have some fun with those things, man. They work well. Charles Zimmer. Oh, I think it's his son Charlie saying hello to you and I, because Chuck's running the Redondo Rod and Glen Club
Oh,
meeting
okay,
right
okay.
now. So, hey, Charlie, great to see you, kid. Christopher Bailey. I let mine go all the way to the bottom. I think that is where I am making a mistake. Pull up tons of rock bass and no greenbacks.
Yeah, on the sabiki thing.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I think that probably is true, right? Bill Wilkerson's back, Captain Bill, and he says, Manuel, I have seen yellowtail caught on spinning gear. It can be done. In fact, we were out with Bill Wilkerson. Paul Burbank, caught a big bluefin tuna, like 70 pounders, I remember, Bill, on a spinning reel.
Yeah, no problem.
Paul recently passed away, by the way, so I send him and his family, keep him in my prayers and send his family all our love. We're going to miss him. He was great. He was in there. Remember?
Yeah,
he bought
that
the spinning
spinning
reel.
reel,
He just
yeah.
passed away,
I know what
unfortunately.
you're talking about.
Cast it and your bait don't hit the water.
That's somebody talking off a microphone, so you can't hear him. So, it makes no sense at all. So, sorry about that.
So what he's mentioning, which actually is
Yes, okay, thank you.
makes a lot of sense too. With a spinning reel, one of the things you can do a lot better than you can with a conventional reel is an underhand cast.
That's true.
So that underhand cast, the very, very best captains and crew members are really good at that underhand cast.
Right.
And the reason they do it is for two reasons. One, they don't have to worry about who's behind them, so you can get a bait out right away. And another thing is that low trajectory kind of makes it so that the bait doesn't land so hard on the water.
Yeah.
So your bait stays a little more lively. So yeah, that spinning rod will probably help with that
So
too.
let me ask you a question, because I know what the answer is for me. Could you cast an underhand cast with a spinning reel or a conventional reel?
Pretty equal.
Yeah?
You know,
I think a spinner I could probably
we're
throw it a
kinda
little
like into-
further.
yeah, we're getting into kind of splitting hairs about
Yeah.
that. I don't know if that's as big a deal.
Yeah.
I think what's going to happen is that because your bait is probably in better shape, even if you're short by 4 or 5 feet, over an overhand cast, your bait's going to make that up in no time. With it being in better shape. So, yeah, you can probably make a longer cast with a conventional reel and a long rod. That's probably true, but unless you're fishing maybe a very kind of structure or something like that, maybe a boiler rock where you had to make a very accurate cast, I don't know if a spinning rod is going to put you at a disadvantage.
All right, very good. Perfect. Isaac,
You were.
do you like a lighter color Dean or a darker color sardine? Does it make a difference? to you?
No.
Lively, right?
Yeah, typically those lighter ones seem to be a little livelier as a rule, but I'm not going to stick to that. I mean, if it's livelier, that's what you want. Yeah.
Captain Bill Wilkerson says he loves the show for dinner, and we couldn't get a better endorsement from
you go.
anybody, right?
Bill, that's awesome, man.
Bill, thank you so much. We appreciate it. Junior Emmanuel, nothing wrong with the spinning setup. Thank you so much for reiterating that. David Jimenez, oh man, you guys are making me hungry. I'm stuck in my rig with nothing to eat till tomorrow. David's
down.
Yeah, David's in a truck probably in Utah or
Oh,
something.
wow.
Where you at, David? You get a chance, drop us a line. Cameron Cochran, I'm late to the party, but have the fathoms fixed. With their free swill issues and the other issues they have been having. Cameron, thanks for joining us. Sam.
Yeah, I really haven't seen a lot of those issues. I don't know. I mean, I know with the internet sometimes you go around searching for reviews or things like that. You're always going to hear the worst. But as far as I've seen, the reels that we've sold, we haven't really had any come back. I know there was a few that had some issues. I did see some of that as well. But from the amount of reels that we've sold, I don't really think it's been a huge problem. I know that early on they did mention something about the finish, that they were trying to make that a little stronger so they didn't flake off. But I just haven't seen it. With the amount of reels that we've sold, that must have been an isolated incident for all those problems that they've had. Yeah.
All right, perfect. And let's see. And Cameron just kind of goes on over all of that one more time again. All right, Pohukai 3216. I'm sick, so I'm reading like a moron now, okay? Please forgive me. What is the rationale for not tightening the drag when a fish is on and running? If it is a lack of control or higher risk of breaking it off if the drag goes too tight? Yeah, right?
Yeah. If you go too tight, it's going to break the line.
You start pushing up or, tightening a star drag.
Yeah, I mean,
You gotta be careful.
You got to be careful. Yeah. So I've talked to different guys. Especially when you talk about long range fishing. one of the things that happens is you get into a kind of fish that takes a lot of line.
Yeah.
So you start off with a reel that's full, you get bit, and the fish is just ripping line off. Well, typically, if you got your reel set at, let's say 15 or let's say 25 pounds of drag, so you got your reel, you set it up, you pull it off 15 pounds of drag or 25 pounds of drag. By the time you get down a third, from the end, 2/3 down, that drag that was 25 pounds is probably going to be at 35 or 40 pounds because of just physics and the way that drags work. So one of the things you might be concerned with turning up that drag, if you start out at 25 and let's say right away you pump it up to 45, well, by the time you get down farther on your spool, it's going to be way too high. So you have to take that into consideration, that the drag is kind of increasing as the line is going down. But you're right. You may have found that maybe you're too light to start, but make sure your drags are set tight. Talk to a crew member. Those guys do it day in, day out. And if you're not sure about how tight your drag should be, that's the first thing I would do is talk to a crew member and make sure that they check it for you. More often than not, from guys that have asked me to check their drags, they're usually a little bit too light. So that probably is the issue that you may have witnessed there, where they probably started off way too light.
All right, very good. Joe Sirwald is a lovely human being, sending strength to Warrior Eddie in his battle. We're all sending healing thoughts your way, brother. That's a beautiful thing. Scott wants to know how the wings are. They're delicious, aren't
They're
they?
awesome. I can't believe it. It's so good.
God, Scott, you are just something else. I love you so much. Jorge Bocanegra says, Phil, a much better picture from the last time you guys got together. That's because, you know what I did? I put makeup on tonight.
Ah.
Yeah, so I think...
That's what I smell.
Yeah, you're noticing that. Dan's laughing his something off over there. I forgot, this is a family show. DJB, glad to be here. Are we going till 8 p.m. tonight? I was thinking not, but I'm starting to think we're already an hour and a half into this, man, and it's flying by. I don't know about you. I have fun with this show.
Yeah.
No, you hate it.
I
can
wouldn't
tell.
I wouldn't do it if I didn't like it.
I know, me too.
100%.
But Michael's been back there yawning a few times, and he's caught everything he does back there. I think he forgets that it's all up there. Oh, he's playing on his phone now. He's so interested in our show. All right, perfect. Here we go. Jack Sepulveda. Hi, that's always great to have a guy back there playing on his phone when you're doing a show. Hi, Phil and Sam. Great show. How much line should you mark on your reel? 3, 4, or 500 feet?
500 for sure. That's probably a good measure. The reason being is you get into a tangle, lose a couple marks, you're still good. So I would say 500 feet.
All right, that's a good one. Hey, man, we actually are we getting low, or did I screwed up, I think.
Probably screwed up.
I did. There's like 500,000 more questions. Okay, here we go. Jack, good to hear from you, by the way. JC, just got off the Legend. So many fish out there. Crossing fingers that this will blow up soon. JC, thanks for confirming everything I've been hearing because, man, there's so much fish.
The volume is starting to stack up.
Yeah. It's just, I'm sorry you didn't get them, but I appreciate you wishing everybody well, and I think you're right. It's going to go here pretty soon. Thank you so much. Chewy. We need 3 more anglers to sign up for the Legend 1.5-day trip departing on Tuesday, June 13th. Some of you guys should book this trip. I say book it.
Yeah. Fishing's going to be good next week, I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, there it is. I say I make an albacore prediction. You laugh. Now you're predicting it's going to be...
The whole fleet's going to get them.
Yeah, there you are. Everybody, you want to bet Scott on that?
No,
I'm sure he'll take the bet.
I've already won, yeah.
Yeah, oh, that's right. I forgot. All right. I hope you get those people. Cue ball. I may go. Just for the halibut. LOL. I like it. Jason Walker's joining us. Charles Zimmer. I'm Charlie. I'm going on a 2-day trip on the Pacific Voyager with my dad. Another special moment, which is, and you can't see this guy. He should walk over, but that's why I love both these guys, because Grandpa taking care of his grandson, and it's a beautiful thing because that fishing thing brings guys together,
sure.
and daughters also, but it's just really cool. All right.
Cue ball.
No. Thunis O. What slow pitching setup for night jigging for triple-digit bluefin? Good question.
So probably the biggest thing is going to be making sure you have the right size line on your reel. With this jigging here, I think I brought some on here. I thought I did. And there we go. So,
don't you touch those chicken wings.
100-pound braid, or 80-pound braid at least, with maybe 100.
Man, you are all set up tonight. No wonder it's such a great show.
100-pound, 80-pound braid at least, if not heavier, even maybe 100 pound. But this is the kind of the size reel you're going to be fishing. This is a Torque 40 narrow. This is a Accurate 800 narrow. And as far as the rod, you're really looking at something that's going to work the jig. So you want to have a rod that is for the size jigs that you're using. You know, we're using mostly 200 to 300 gram jigs. So make sure your rod is kind of rated for that. But your line on your reel should be, like I said, at least an 80-pound braid with about 100-pound top shot, 100-pound leader top shot.
All right, Cue Ball says Seeker and CalStar forever. That's his thing. Christopher Martinez, I'm late but happy to be here. We're happy you're here with us, Christopher. I was on the May 21st trip on board the Highliner with Ray Sharifi, and it was phenomenal. It was my first time night jigging for tuna and several others as well. Christopher had a memorable trip, and we're all about that.
Highliner.
Awesome. Happy to hear that. Travis Bright, Nomad Jig Bags is great, worth all the money.
For sure.
Yeah. Christopher Martinez, the Highliner crew, worked very hard to keep us from tangling and also to get our fish out of tangles. The food was great also. Christopher, I've heard the same thing from Isaac, who's on here with his son, Ethan. Ethan caught, I think it was a 90-pound bluefin tuna at night.
Awesome.
Landed it in 5 minutes. I had some of the video, so I could see the captain working with them and the crew guys, and they were great. Fantastic. So from what I've been able to see, it looks fantastic. All right, Daniel Leanos, I am here. What did I miss? Nothing. Steve Bermudez, I thought we got away without having Steve on the show tonight. The only good tackle bag is the one where the wheels light up.
Okay.
Yeah, Steve,
All right.
We need Steve on this show, I'll tell you. Carlos Yu. Oops, hold on. Carlos Yu, what was the make and model of the best heavy-duty split ring pliers you two were talking about a few weeks back for the big rings? Was that guy,
So
Toy?
there's two. Yeah, there's one is the Toit pliers, Toit, split ring plier.
I like that guy, by the way.
Yeah, and it's the large. He has a small, medium, large. You'd be
What's his
using the
first
large.
name?
Warren.
Warren. That's
Warren.
right.
Yeah, Warren.
Nice guy.
Yeah, very, very nice guy. The other one that we use is the Shimano. It's a 7-inch power plier, split ring plier, the larger of the two. They make two. That's a 5-inch and a 7-inch. You want to use the larger of the two. So in both, you're using the large.
All right, very good. Jorge Bocanegra, who loves the picture tonight. I see a lot of spools on the shelving behind you. He can see everything tonight, you see? He's hung up on that tonight. Is there a timeline for how long fishing line will still be good for? How do you store them normally?
Yeah, I mean, the stuff lasts for years. I mean, the stuff that you see behind us is kind of the stuff we're working with. So we're obviously, it's not going to be up there that long. It might be up there for a couple months or something like that. But line should last you 4 or 5 years, really. But if you have any concern, just get some brand new line. It's kind of be one of the cheaper parts of your tackle. I wouldn't risk a whole lot with it if you're not sure. One of the things that you have to think about too is that depending on the brand, if it's a really large brand, that could have been sitting in a warehouse for a couple years before you got it. And so, the fact that you've only had it for a year doesn't mean it's a year old.
Right.
But, you want to, as a rule, we always say keep it in a cool, dark place. Any exposure to sun or varying heats is kind of what messes it up. But it lasts a lot longer than we think. And the heavier it is, the longer it'll last. And from what I understand, fluorocarbon lasts even longer. So, if that's of any concern, I would say myself, if you got line that's been there that long, it probably means you haven't been fishing a whole lot. Go ahead and get some brand new line, and that way you're not wondering about it. But it really depends also maybe what you're fishing for. If you're just rock cod fishing or something like that, it probably wouldn't be too concerned. But if you think you're going to be testing the limits of that line, let's say you're using 40-pound test for like 100-pound tuna, I probably would just get some fresh line just to be sure.
130 people watching. Just hit 100 likes. Sam, congratulations. The Terps, UC 9E versus 10E jig stick. What is the difference besides the length? I casted the 10E, and I really liked the way it felt.
Yeah, they are pretty similar. I will say the 10E is a little stiffer overall. So if you wanted something that would maybe cast some heavier jigs better, like, not heavier, but maybe larger jigs, that 10E would probably do the job a little bit better. The 9E, the way that thing was created was really to be a universal jig stick, something that anybody can use. And that one probably casts more jigs at a higher level than any other jig stick out there. But if you wanted something a little bit beefier, maybe a little bit to pull a little harder, that 10E, just because of its length, is a little bit stiffer. And I think the guys that are kind of more into the old school jig sticks probably like that 10E better. It's a little bit kind of more that slow, big, long rod. Whereas a 9E is a shorter rod, easier to handle. But they're both really good. It's not a huge difference, except for maybe the 10E can handle a bigger jig better.
All right, very good question. David Jimenez, what a guy. I'm telling you right now. Truck driver, backbone of America, hardworking guy. Got to start work at 2:30 a.m. And guess what he's doing?
Watching TV.
He's watching our
us.
show right now. He's in Red Bluff, California. I start at 2:30 a.m., but I wouldn't miss the show for anything.
Awesome.
David, thank you. That really means a lot to us. W. Salazar, 03, love your show. Phil, Sam,
Get 'em.
all these accolades, man. Thank you so much. Deeply appreciate that. Naughty Boy 78, great show, guys. Don't forget to hit the like button and share. Yes, I forgot to say that. Share these videos. That really, really helps us a lot. And you don't want to see Sam and I crying tonight, so make sure you do that. All right, I screwed up here, but I'm coming back. Here we are. DJB Phil, congrats on passing 8,000 subscribers. Thank you so much. You are, and Sam, the hardest local working guys on the internet. Do you ever sleep? Not really. You don't either, do you? I mean, seriously. You're working 24 hours a day, too, and you make time for this. And I literally today, these two guys were going, do you ever stop? And I never had a chance to take a break.
It's fun, I mean, it's
Right.
one of those things. It doesn't really seem like work,
It doesn't.
Yeah, we're just having a good time here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank
yeah.
you, though. We
Appreciate
really
it.
appreciate it. And I can see 10,000 coming up here really soon. All right, Donald Stevenson, I have $300 Costa Del Mar glasses gift card till
He wants to trade it for a
1.5
spot on
day
the trip.
You mean somebody out in the audience?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe he's trying to trade a pair of glasses for a fishing trip.
Yeah, okay. Well, we wish you the best of luck on
Yeah,
that.
try that. Yeah.
Danielle says hello. We say hello to him. Rocket Dog. Phil, Sam, are you still looking into setting up a trip for the viewers you mentioned last week? Was that a jig trip on the Monte Carlo for Barracuda or something?
Yeah, I think we talked about that, doing something like that.
Those things are going
later
to be
in the
biting
year.
in the next 2 weeks.
It could be same kind
No,
of same kind of
they're
conditions.
going. Don't give me that could.
That Barracuda's even
Don't
worse.
argue with me.
Barracuda's even worse than the albacore, man.
First the Barracuda, then the Albies, man. Yeah, they're coming. They're going to be biting pretty soon.
So, so you're gonna set up the trip in 2 weeks?
I'm going to bet Scott $50 on the Barracuda here when I get off the air. No, yeah,
Do it,
you want me
yeah.
to?
Go for it.
All right, I'll talk to Mike Morrison.
I can't
You
go, but-
Why? You can go on a Sunday.
On a Sunday, I can. Yes, for
Yeah,
sure.
we could do
But
that.
I don't know if he would. Well, maybe he would. Yeah, yeah.
He would for me. You know,
For
when I
you,
walk
anything.
into Mike Morrison's office, the manager at 22nd Street
People move
Landing,
aside. Yeah.
he says, "Get the hell out of here." That's what he normally says to me. Yeah, no respect. All right, yeah, we'll work on that. That's a good idea. Don't be afraid, says JC, to troll on a sport boat. Halco's caught half the fish on our last trip.
I wonder if those are the small ones or the larger ones.
JC's going to tell us.
Yeah, hopefully you can
He's
tell
going
me,
to come
JC.
right back to us.
Or call me tomorrow morning.
No, I want to hear it on the show. You want out of here. Dansky, great show, guys. I have a Makara 20 with 130-pound marked braid. How would you rig a knife jig to it, and how would you rig it for trolling?
So if you're gonna kind of double duty it, I'd probably put some 100-pound mono on the end of it, maybe like 50 feet or so. And then you can tie that 100-pound mono to your bite leader. You still want to have a bite leader on your jig. You know, some of these fish are starting to actually get pretty good size. A lot of that 140 to 180-pound fish is starting to show a little bit. So if you hook one of those big ones, you can start getting to that 200-pound range. You want to make sure you have your bite leader. So I'd put a 100-pound top shot, maybe 50 feet, and then you could kind of back and forth tie to your bite leader or to a trolling jig.
Don't you dare go anywhere. Don't forget, Sam De La Torre will have another outstanding discount for you if, and only if, you know the password, which we're not giving till the end of the show, right?
That's what we gave.
Oh, we did?
The
Blackfin?
gift- Blackfin, yeah.
Yeah, Victor will be really happy with us.
Really?
I think so.
Good for him.
He wants his kid to sit up straight so you can see the thing up there, the
Why are
logo.
you embarrassing him for?
Am I embarrassing you? No,
Yeah.
you know me, right? I joke
on,
around a
man.
lot. He loves me. What are you talking
Can't
about?
be doing that.
Oh, I'm sorry. All right, Steve Bermuda says, can split ring be welded?
I've never tried, well, but I'm pretty sure they can. I'm pretty sure they can, yeah. I don't see why not. If they're stainless, you can weld stainless.
Isaac says he was on that trip. Christopher Navarro says, I forgot this was on. I was watching the Dodgers game. Don't do that. I wish I was watching
they
the whole
lost.
time. LA choked and gave up 3 runs in the ninth.
Oh, my
Love the
God.
show. I'm mad at the Dodgers right now.
Why?
Well, those sisters of the frickin' whatever it is. I'm not happy about that. I don't mind saying it. All right, Jason Walker. What's the youngster's best fish and or story? Come here. What is your best fishing story? Look out at the audience there
The
and
best
tell
fish. What's your biggest fish
them.
so
You have
far?
to speak loudly.
My biggest fish was a tuna, I think.
The tuna?
Or Dorado.
A Dorado.
Dorado, what boat?
The Voyager out of Seafort.
Out of Seaport Sport Fishing.
That's awesome.
And was Grandpa there with you? Mm-hmm. And did he try to take it from you and catch it himself? Oh, he did? Grandpa, yeah, nice. No, he didn't do that, did he? Oh, he did. Oh, you're busted, Grandpa. All right, hey, thanks. Give me 5. That's a great question. Thank you so much, Jason, for getting him involved because Sam and I were ignoring him. Thanks, Phil and Sam, for the question and answer. Circling back on the slow pitching question, what builder were the slow pitching rods Sam held up earlier?
So one of them here, this guy, this is the United Composites CXJ 6005. Freddie Magana built that for us. I think he was on the show one time.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, and he built that kind of spiral wrapped, how they do. And this rod here was built by Moon himself, the master rod builder.
Moon.
That guy, he was on your show too, right?
He was on the
Yeah,
show.
yeah.
He's a full moon if I've ever seen
He's
one.
a legend,
Yes.
rod builder, but that's who built this rod.
Beautiful stuff.
Yeah, yeah, pretty cool stuff.
All right, very good. Manny Garcia. Sam sold me a Talica 25 with a UC Viper last week.
That's it.
Hoping to get it on a boat in the next couple of weeks. Probably going to come in very handy, right, Manny? Right,
Now's the
Sam?
time, yeah.
Yeah, good luck, Manny. Thanks for joining us. William Chauncey, Sam has taught me so much. Don't know where I would be without his knowledge.
That's a
It's
cool
true,
dude right
man.
there, yeah. Yeah, he's been coming in since he started fishing here with us, and man, that guy's come a long way. He's doing the long trips, 10-day trips, stuff like that. He's doing it right.
Every 15 minutes, we get the same question from Scott. How was the food?
It's awesome.
Yeah, Scott, thank you so
Yeah,
much.
I'm sure it's going to be.
I think we need to get down on our hands and knees and thank him, and then that might be the end of it. No, hey Scott, we deeply appreciate it. Thank you so much. MJM, hey fellas, caught my first California halibut
Nice, yeah.
a couple of days ago on an orange lead head, half ounce on the retrieve, 25-inch. We got dinner tonight.
He sent me pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was cool.
Mark,
that was cool.
And
Mark, yeah.
Mark, I think I was supposed to contact you about some some nice hats. Please forgive me, I just got overloaded, but let's chat tomorrow for sure. But great guy, and I think halibut's my favorite. I love to eat halibut. I think it's so good.
Yeah.
I made halibut tacos last night at my son Philip's house, and they were great.
Worldwide, that fish is pretty much one of the best fish you can eat.
Yeah. Were you
for
going to
sure.
say something?
Oh, no, I was just, JC responded with size small on the jig. So
Oh, okay.
now I got to put that in my tackle box. But
No.
I'm putting it in for sure.
Yeah, you mean for your
Yeah.
trip on
Yep,
Wednesday?
yep.
All right, perfect. Thank you, JC, for that. David Jimenez, do you guys have any ideas on how to get big fish home to process them? The bill for the processing could be as much as the trip if all goes well. Can't fit all those 200-pounders in an ice chest.
Yeah, you can maybe buy a kill bag, a couple kill bags, if you get a bunch of those big fish. But those kill bags aren't that cheap either, but they do work really well if you're just going to transport from the landing to your house. I think the really big one, like a 30 by 90, will fit a couple 200-pounders, and maybe, that's all you want to bring home anyway. That's a lot of fish. But I will say this here as a comment on the fish processing. It does seem expensive, especially after you go on the trip, and you have all your expenses there, your tackle, everything like that. You get off the trip, you think, man, that's another expense, right? But
Yeah.
I will say, especially with that big fish, doing it yourself sounds
Nightmare.
like a good idea, but unless you've got a real good setup, meaning that you have a commercial grade, vacuum sealer, and you can do it right away. That means you get home from your trip, you're tired, now you got to cut these big fish. You're honestly going to waste a lot of it, and then you got to get rid of a carcass. You can't just throw those things in the trash. I mean, I guess you could, but you got to cut that thing down too. So You know what they do down there. It is pricey, and I get it. You know, after you've gone on this trip, you might feel like you're tapped out. But think about it ahead of time. You know, try to save a few extra bucks and pay for the processing. What you're going to be able to bring home is going to be good for a lot longer as well. You know, vacuum
That's very
sealed.
true.
Yeah, now you got all this fish. You may have 100 pounds of meat. Well, if you do it yourself, I mean, you probably throw half of it away after a few months because it's all freezer burn. You know, if you get it back, vacuum sealed, done right from the processor, that stuff will last you over a year. And and what I mean by last, it'll be as good as the day you caught it.
Yeah.
So to me, I get it. It is expensive, but to me, it's well worth it. If you're going to keep that fish, treat it right.
All right, I have to agree with Sam on that one. And hit that like button, please. A reminder, the San Diego full day boat out of C4 Sport Fishing in San Diego today had limits of bluefin tuna, a departure from the way things have been going. The day before, he had 0.
Jeez.
Saw tons of fish. And he's had a couple days like that.
gonna get
And
'em.
nobody's working harder than those guys,
No,
man.
no.
I'm amazed when a guy that leaves in the morning and comes back that same night is able to put together any kind of a
I
score.
know.
That is hard.
That's crazy.
You zig when you're supposed to zag, you're
Yeah.
done.
Yeah.
And man, these guys are such professionals and so good. You mentioned earlier tonight that we're lucky to have this fleet, and man, you couldn't be more right than that. So great stuff. All right. Chewy says, can I tie the Mad Max straight to the braid for trolling, or should I tie on a leader to it? Fluoro or mono?
I've never done it straight to a braid, so I'm not going to say it can't be done because I haven't done it, but I wouldn't recommend it. You probably want some mono on there, you know. Two reasons. First is that the braid doesn't take to chafing as good as mono, so you might find that a fish, you can hook a big fish, you're going to end up possibly having that fish just break you off from its tail or something like that. And then if you get into a situation where it swallows it or something, you know, the chafing also on the teeth isn't going to be very good. So I definitely would tie on a top shot, at least 100 pound, if not heavier.
Mark wants to know the best place to get a fish mounted. Where do you get that? You know, I
don't
used
know.
to.
Yeah, there's a few places before. You
God,
know,
back in the day, who was that guy? He was a local guy, and I had a calico
Robert's
bass.
Fish Mount.
Yeah,
Robert's Fish
Robert.
Mount. He's gone. I think he lives in Arizona or something.
Yeah,
like that,
yeah.
But I think
Probably Google it and just.
I think there's a couple guys in San Diego.
There's guys in Florida for
Yeah.
sure.
But nowadays, from what I understand, I'm not an expert in this, but I think if you just take the measurements of your fish,
Yeah, you're right.
they have pre-made molds. You
Yeah.
know, skin mounts is something that I don't know if they really do that often anymore, and I'm sure it's way more expensive. But I'm sure if you take the measurements and a few pictures of your fish, they'll probably have a mold that they can take care of that
Yeah,
for you.
for sure. MJM, wide open white sea bass, but I couldn't get a bite.
Oh.
Even the rental rod guys who've never caught a fish were catching these things. Question: how to fish a lead head or a sliding sinker? Let it drop to the bottom and bounce it around, or what? MJM, just before Sam answers this, we've all been there, man.
Yeah.
We've all been snake bit. I was on the qualifier 105 and guys were just wailing on the albacore. I couldn't get a bite. It's the most frustrating feeling in the world, isn't it? It's
Yep.
like, what am I doing wrong? Then you start looking at people and
Yeah.
you copy exactly what they're doing.
Gets in your head, yeah.
No bite, yeah. So,
I don't know. Fish on the wrong side of the boat. That's what the rent riders do. Yeah. I don't
yeah,
know.
right. Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes it's just not your day. You know, I mean, I would say on how to do it. You want to, if you're fishing squid, which I'm assuming you guys are fishing squid. You got to be able to pump that bait and kind of give it some action, some movement. Not a lot, not like you're fishing a jig, but something real slight. You know, so you want to give it some movement, but sometimes it's just not your day, man. I'm sorry, Mark.
I know. Sometimes it happens that way. Or, hey, Bocanegra, is there anything out there today, any contenders that will outcast the old school Newell reels?
I would say everything out there today. You know, the Newell reels cast great, and when the Newell reel was a new product, it was better than anything on the market of the time. But that's not saying much. You know, we were fishing with metal spool jig mashers and stuff like that. You know, the Trinidads and the Saltigas of today, all of those, in my opinion, cast way better. The bearings make them way smoother, and the technology of how they're made too. The spools are much more balanced than the Newells were. Newells are great. They're awesome reels, and I think if you're like into the nostalgia stuff, they work good. But honestly, the newer stuff of today just it outfishes it. I mean, it just does.
All right, very good. Don't forget to subscribe, my friends, and you'll be notified whenever there's new content. If you're a subscriber, Sam and I come on the air, boom, you're notified right away, so you never miss a Friedman Adventures show. Isaac wants to know about fish processing. We already answered that, Isaac. Joe Surwald, Sam, does the tackle backpack by Daiwa that you showed last week have a label name? The one that had the rigid bottom compartment? Having a hard time finding it. Do you ship?
Yeah, we ship, no problem. I think it's man, it does have a weird abbreviation. It's like DVTB or something like that. But I'll look it up right now.
Well, I think the answer to this is that he gives you a call and you
Call
ship
me
it.
up. I'll definitely ship it to you. Yeah, we got a bunch of those in stock, and they're a really good bag.
All right, MJM, just send us a $5 bill.
Oh man.
Thank you so much. Really, really appreciate it. That means a lot to us. Halibut Man, hope I'm not too late. I caught a keeper Halley today on the
there you
Santa
go.
Monica Pier. I love it. I mean,
That is
catching a halibut on a boat is cool, but
Yeah.
on a pier in the surf, that's extraordinary.
Last week, Thursday, I think, Andrew, the guy who was holding up the rock hut,
Yeah,
he was on the pier fishing. He's kind of an avid shore pounding guy.
yeah.
Well, he said he saw two guys catch a limit of halibut on the pier,
On what pier?
Redondo Beach Pier.
What?
Two guys catch a limit of halibut
Is
on
it?
the
Do you
pier.
trust this guy?
Yes. He
What
himself
the-
caught 8 shorts.
Whoa.
I mean, the halibut are biting.
damn,
I mean,
gotta surf fish.
so
I
here where
haven't
you
even-
know fishing's no good, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, fishing is, getting started.
Yeah.
A
Right.
limit of halibut on the pier.
Oh my
Come
god.
on, man.
2 limits.
I've never heard of that.
I haven't
in my
either.
entire life.
I haven't
so
either.
I'm not sure how much better you can get than that.
I'm the one who says, 5 fish for a limit, you're never going to hit that.
Yeah.
And now this year,
on the pier.
God, that's great. Halibut Man, I'm glad you got
Sorry, I just gave up the spot, but yeah.
that. Oops, yeah, there are going to be 500 people there tomorrow. Israel de la Cruz, Sam, what's a perfect rod to fish bluefin on live bait? Last year I hooked up 2 of them on a UC Reaper and it killed my back.
Oh man.
Was that on Archer? I think it was Relentless. He was having some back problems with that.
Live bait, you're looking at maybe a 7 to 8 foot rod. That Reaper is a 9-footer. The one thing I would say is no matter what rod you're using, you get into these bigger tuna, you want a 2-speed reel. That Reaper typically is a jig rod, so you may have had more of a jig reel, it's single-speed star drag reel. I'm not sure what you had on there for a reel. But that 2-speed kind of is a great equalizer, and you got that button, it really, really makes all the difference. But something 7 to 8 foot is more appropriate for live bait fishing.
All right, perfect. Daniel wants to know best big game for a reel for big game tuna.
Best is, I hate that word because
Yeah.
you want to kind of corner you into like this.
Yeah, right.
I would never use nothing else but this, but you want to have something that is going to hold at least 500 yards. Like I was mentioning earlier, 500 yards of a heavy braid, 100 to 130 pound braid. I bet you more big fish over 100 pounds, and also too depends on what you talk for. What is a big game bluefin tuna? For one person it might be a 50-pound tuna. For another guy it might be a 250-pound tuna. So you want to kind of like qualify that a little bit. But this Penn Fathom 40 has probably caught more tuna over 100 than any other reel on the market. Simply for the fact that it's probably the most common loaner or rental reel down in San Diego. So it's just been on more boats. But a reel of that size I think is a good start. I personally like the Internationals. I'm just kind of a Penn guy, just old school guy. But I like this Penn 30 International. But that's on the bigger side. That's going to be something that's going to be for more that, like I said, that 250-pound size fish. So depends on what you're doing. But even this little guy here, this 30, that can catch a 100-pound tuna all day long. So it just depends on what you're doing and how you're doing it too. That's going to be more of a live bait fly line reel, where this might be more of a sinker rig or a smaller knife jig reel. Whereas this guy here would be definitely more of a trolling or a knife jig, a larger knife jig reel.
All right, very good. Make sure you hit that like button. We were just at 160 people watching, down to 152 right now.
All right.
And 112 likes. Thank you all for tuning in. We really appreciate it. David Jimenez, I've got a commercial grade chamber vac that I processed elk with. How much are those kill bags with the Wingstop promo? Yeah, I like that.
Maybe that might be
David.
it, huh?
Oh, yeah.
So those things run $300 to $400 depending on the size and brand too. I think AFCO just started making one. It's about $450 or so. Now that one's kind of cool in the sense it doesn't have any zippers. Some guys they will jack up those zippers trying to close the bag. You get into a lot of fish with a lot of ice. But the Reliable brand, which is kind of the one who really started it all, they make about 15 different sizes. But in this larger tuna size that we're talking, 30 by 72, 30 by 90, that's 30 inches by 72 inches, that kind of stuff, is around I think we were looking at, say, $350 to $400, something like that.
All right, perfect.
Yeah.
Give Sam a call, see if he can work something out, David.
Yeah. I might have to have 2 specials.
Axel Ram, yeah, really. Guys, does San Pedro or Pedro, I get chewed
Pedro,
out all the time
yeah.
for not saying Pedro. Does San Pedro or Long Beach have a fish processing company?
They do not. The only thing that I've heard of is that there's a mobile processor. I don't know the name of it. You'd have to Google it maybe or look on.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
Yeah.
Like Huntington Beach or something. Or
I'm not really sure. I think he's out of San Diego.
Dan's
from what I
retired. Dan, why don't you start
Cutting fish, yeah.
Yeah, come on. We'll
But,
do the Friedman Adventures fish processing.
understand. Yeah, I'm sure you
thing.
do a search on Bloody Decks or something like that. You might find the guy, or even on Instagram. I know I've seen pictures of that guy there too, but that's the only way I've heard from something local.
All right, very good. Andrew Pulido says, should I change the hooks on the Mad Max?
The rear hook, that's the one that the guys who do it a lot, they all change it to a treble hook. As far as the size, you're going a 5.0 for your 200 millimeter Mad Max and a 7.0 for the 240s. So yeah, definitely I would change them.
All right. Carlos, you. Sam, my friends steal my empty Seagar fluorocarbon leader bags. How or where may I get more? Sure, I can buy more fluorocarbon, but I need a few extras, please.
Those, I think if he's talking about the ones that they were giving away at the show, those were a promo deal from Seagar. I can see if I can get some more from them. In fact, I might have a few more left from the show as we're almost done here cleaning up after the show. I think I saw some the other day. So if you're going to come down and buy some fluoro, I guess I can give you one of those as part of their promo. But come on down and we work something out, man.
Halibut Man says, all right, everybody, let's meet at the Redondo Pier tomorrow. I'm buying the pizza for everybody.
They're buying at 5 in the morning.
Oh, shoot. Oh, then he's buying breakfast burritos.
No,
Halibut Man didn't promise that, by the way, but he would like to meet you down there. Ramundo Pacheco, what size is that international on your table? Do you like that or Macaira in the same size? Talking about that
This
one,
is
right?
the 30, and I like that. In the picture, I just sent me some more halibut from the Redondo Beach Pier.
Oh, wow. Damn.
That's a 20-pound ice, but you guys can't see this.
Oh,
but
my God. Well, yeah, they can.
I don't know.
Here, I think, maybe.
So yeah,
That's
so
a 20-pound ice bag. That's
Yeah.
a halibut on the Redondo Pier.
Yeah.
Please, I know. What's his
So
name?
yeah, fishing's no good. Yeah, don't go fishing. Yeah.
Fishing is great. Man,
That was actually Chris Navarro sent me that picture.
I'm telling you right now, I'm going to go surf fish. I got to get out there with a Lucky Craft and
Go-
hammer that,
yeah,
man.
sure you'd get one.
I haven't been able to do it. I've been
Even
too
you
busy.
might get one. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's a 30 right there, and that international 30. I do like it. The Macaira 30 is great. It's a little wider than this reel, a little more capacity, but to me, this has been a good reel. I've done really good with it.
All right, Victor Clark says, hey, okay, you convinced me. I want to try for my first pier-based halibut. Any tips? Bait setup? I've only caught a short on a boat a few years ago.
So the other day, the report was that the hot deal was a hookup bait, 1/4 ounce hookup bait. I think they were using mostly green or blue, but I would imagine something like that, like a swim bait, plastic, something like that, maybe would be what I would do. There's Zoom flukes, there's all kinds of stuff, but on that particular day, those guys were getting them on the hookup bait, 1/4 ounce.
Excellent. Royalty watching us tonight. Billy K is watching us. He
Hey,
says,
Billy, what's going on, man?
Drew's Processing is the name of the processor.
Ah, there
Drew's
you go.
Processing.
Oh yeah, Billy uses
Thank you,
them.
Billy.
Yep.
Yeah,
Billy,
I mean, royalty watching our show here,
that's the
right?
guy right there, man.
Yep. Thank you so much, and really appreciate you tuning in here. Halibut Man, Victor Clark, get a super tiny sabiki with no beads and catch smelt or chobies and use 15-pound fluoro with size 4 hooks, Carolina rig, before the swells. So there you go, man. There's a guy that knows what he's doing, and he just shared it with you. David Jimenez, what's up, Billy K? Your early videos are the reason I got interested in tuna fishing. There you go. You got a fan out there. Well, you got tons of fans.
Yeah, millions of fans.
We know
yeah.
that. Carlos, I'll be in tomorrow, sir. Thank you. There you are,
There you
Sam.
go.
Matthew Martin, roundtable question. Favorite way to catch bluefin and favorite sport boat? Thanks, Matt.
favorite way to catch bluefin. My favorite way to catch bluefin is fly lining. I mean, just tuna in general. You know, it just
I agree.
kind of a more fun, way.
Yeah.
Just the sensation of a big tuna taking a big strong roll when you get bit. But I've caught more big fish on the knife jig. So I want to catch one first and foremost. But if I can get them and choose the way I wanted to do it, I probably would be on a fly line. But I will say, as a strong number two, would be on the kite. The visual of seeing that big giant explosion to me is pretty hard to beat as well. But I think I'd still edge out by just by getting them on the fly line.
Yeah, because it feels like you have more of a hand in the fly line fish, right?
Yeah,
As
it's
opposed
just
to
that feeling of that thing. It's
Yeah,
like
right.
so intense. Your adrenaline just starts going from 0 to 1,000 like in a millisecond. So that's hard to beat, man.
All right, hit that like button up to 120, 151 people watching right now. Billy K, thanks David for the comment. Victor Clark, thank you. Halibut Man, Daniel.
I think you skipped a couple too.
Oh, did I? Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. What pound? Matthew Tamayo.
Oh, there we are. I'm very sorry about that. Matthew Tamayo?
Yeah.
Where's that?
What pound is right after? What pound of drag here should you set for surface iron for yellowtail?
Oh, okay,
A
there you
pretty
go.
tight drag. That's one of those areas where you're almost barely able to take the line off your reel. You got two things that happen. First is that you want to be able to set the hook. So when you do get bit and you wind onto the jig, you want to be able to have as much pressure to set the hook. Number two is a lot of times when you fish on the surface iron, you got seals around, and so you want to be able to pull hard, get that fish to the boat quick, because those seals are, just kind of part of our fishing here. But those are the two reasons here. And then
I skipped a whole bunch of questions.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. All right, I'm going back right now. So Daniel said, that's what I got, a Penn International old school 50 wide. Billy says,
Yeah.
Phil, Sam, I have a question. So he's going to come, I'm
Okay.
sure, with that. Jake says, great stuff. You just did Matt Tamayo, right?
Billy,
Billy K. What do you prefer, daytime bluefin or middle of the night jigging?
I've done mostly that nighttime stuff, but these two jigging rods that I showed earlier, that's going to be my strong introduction to the daytime. And the reason why I'm doing that is that during the day, that's where I've seen where that jigging outperforms, bait fishing. And so even though I want to catch them on bait, there are times where that jig at the daytime, especially, outperforms it. Even at night, I've seen it outperform, but probably more often in the daytime. So I don't know if I have a preference one day or another. Whenever it's working, I guess is the best answer. But in the daytime is where I'm going to get started on this speed jigging thing. So I'll see kind of give you guys a report next week after my trip.
All right, very good. Yeah, I wish you the best of luck, by the way, Sam. Matthew Martin. Oh, no, we did that.
Yep.
And let's see.
Tomorrow.
Hold on one second. Yeah, I thought we were.
yeah. He actually also asking me for my favorite sport boat. I think we were talking
Yeah.
earlier. I love the Royal Star. But there's a lot of good boats down there. The Pegasus, Niloan, Pacific Queen. Those are all guys who have, in the last 10 years, have really stepped up their game and made bluefin something that they're all super good at. So
I've been going on
a lot of good choices.
several different boats,
Yeah.
and I've yet to run into one that's not really doing a fine job.
And I'm kind of excited to kind of maybe do something with Bill on that horizon, man. I saw
Yeah.
some more videos of that thing. Man, that thing is
It's nice.
Yeah, I think it's
We got a
nice, but
1.5
I
on
know.
August 15th. Jump on it with us.
Probably will, man. I
Get
gotta
this
go
guy
on.
to go.
Yeah. Let's
You
go.
know? Yeah, the guy eating all the pizza over there. All right, Joel says, can you pair that International 30 with a Daiwa PTB 70XX HF?
I think that's the
Who the hell comes up with these numbers?
I think that's the rail rod that they have. If it is, you're probably fine with that. If you want to kind of respond with whether or not that's the rail rod or not. And then the question right before that, Daniel?
Oh, I screwed up another one?
Yeah, right before that. At least on mine.
Oh, Daniel, that's what I got, an old Penn International Gold 50. Thank you, Sam. A trip on the Apollo September 8th. Phil, put me down for that one. I'll try to make it since I couldn't make the last one. All right,
There
we'd
you
love
go,
to
man.
have you, man. That would be great, Daniel. I've known Daniel for years and years and years from Redondo Sport Fishing. All right, Phil or Sam, what isn't being covered with today's topics? Anything you would want to say to your viewers that hasn't been covered? Yeah, I want to go to bed. Just kidding. Just kidding. Anything? No, I think letting the people
Yeah.
take it in the direction.
That's kind of our whole thing,
and,
yeah.
just reemphasize that the fishing is really good. I mean,
Really
and it's
good.
really starting to come on now. And this halibut fishing is insane. And now we're catching sea bass at Catalina, and we're getting pops, good pops. I mean, Thunderbird had over 50 yellows the other day
Yeah, yellows are
at
biting.
San Clemente Island.
Nice
We've got
ones.
yellows at we got yellows at Cat. I mean, I just mentioned earlier on in the show 2 hours ago that Travis Bright was on our trip on
Yep.
board the Apollo. Had a 33-pound yellow. That looked like one of those Guadalupe Island fish coming over the stern. So there's a lot of good stuff. And it starts out this way, and then it gets better.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what's going to happen,
Build
man.
it.
It's really going to be insane. All right, we're 2 hours into this.
Jose Rojas.
Jose Rojas, donde? Oh yeah, Jose Rojas is an Abbott HXW good for 100-pound tuna.
More than adequate. More than adequate. You're good there.
On Andrew Pulido, kite is the best catching. Kite is the best catching a tuna. So much more exciting.
It is, man. That's for sure exciting.
Dave Clark, Sam, what is your trip next week? Can't wait to see the photos.
That's going to be a 3-day trip on the Royal Star, leaving on Tuesday the 13th.
Billy K, thanks you for answering that last question. MJM, I've heard so many opinions. 2 questions. Favorite hooks for yellowtail at Catalina Island? Does for white sea bass lead heads matter? Pink, orange, brown, white? Thanks, fellas.
So on the hooks for yellowtail, don't get too complicated on that. A size 1.0 or 2.0 for your live bait fishing, like sardine fishing. But you do want to kind of match your hook to your bait. That's probably going to be the most important thing. Once again, taking a variety of tackle. If you have small bait, maybe even down to a size 2 hook or something like that. You get larger bait, maybe even up to like a 3.0. But it sounds to me like from what they're doing, fishing that light line, you're probably going to be on the smaller side, being a little bit more stealth. And when you go smaller, you might even need to go to a lighter wire. Seeing as you're using 20-pound tests, there's really no need for a big gorilla hook or a big heavy hook. So you might go down to like, even in the Mustad on the low end, like a 9174 size 2. On the more higher end, maybe like a owner fly liner size 2 or maybe even 4. It sounds like these fish are still a little finicky, using 20 or 50, even 15-pound tests.
Halibut man, also I've been catching lots of Spanish jacks and small cuda on the pier. Anyone besides Phil smell albies this year?
Nobody.
Oh, halibut man.
Nobody.
More evidence that they're coming. More evidence. Thank you for providing that. Or hey, Boca Negra, I have what is referred to as an overflow of rods and reels, still in great shape. Where do you suggest someone goes to sell them to? Of course, get more newer rods and reels.
With today's social media and stuff like that, you can probably post them up on any various fishing
right?
groups, or you go on to OfferUp or something like that. I know that Best is going to be a tough one because when you start looking at that kind of stuff, you're also going to have to entertain a lot of people and get a lot of phone calls, meet people up, things like that. So it just kind of become a pain. I guess you can go to a pawn shop or something like that. I mean, we buy some used tackle, but you're going to get the most money selling it yourself. So I would kind of go that route. It is kind of a hassle sometimes,
Hit that like button, everybody. Don't forget, morning briefing. Just a few hours from now, I'll be standing out on the beach talking to the stick. People walk by and go, oh, there's that crazy guy again, Greg Warren, what color Mad Mac and size do you think catches the most bluefin tuna? Thank you, guys. Thank you, Greg.
Well, it seems like every year is a little different. Last year that 200 millimeter size seemed to have caught more fish, but that 240, once this bigger fish started to show, seemed to work a little bit better. Also, that 240 is maybe a little bit more versatile as far as what you're able to troll it behind. It seems like some boats will troll one jig better than another, but overall that 200, as far as the color, you start getting into some of that bright stuff. They have some bright pink and purple things like that. That overall over the year, last year, and then even starting this year, it seems like that brighter color stuff is what's working the best. But we get into a trend for like a couple weeks, 2 or 3 weeks straight. The natural bait, the mackerel or the sardine, comes on strong, even that Spanish mackerel. But by and large, if you had to like try to pick one jig, what caught the most fish over the year, maybe those brighter colors. But just like any other part of our conversation, you want to take a variety, because on any given day, it could be one or the other.
We're starting to wind down toward the end of the show, I hope. Just kidding. I'm having a great time. And that is when Sam will divulge the next great discount here at Island Fishing Tackle, as well as the password. Or we've already given the password.
Yeah.
No, it's too bad. Oh, I thought I could tease that one last time. Halibut Man wants to make sure MJM is matching his hook size to his bait. Got to have 1020 size hooks. Those should always be in your bag. Daniel Lianos, a lot of wisdom in this meeting of the minds. Thank you, Daniel. Joel, yes, that's the Proteus rail rod. It's a good price point for me personally.
Yeah.
Chris Navarro, they stopped making albacore tackle boxes about 15 years ago. We haven't had albacore ever since. Coincidence? Yeah, I think
Now
they
you
should.
know the answer.
That's
You
it.
got to make a new
Chris,
albacore bag.
you figured it out, man. Halibut Man, Jorge, donate some of the rods to kids organization, some reels. I need to give to Michael from
R&RGC?
yeah, RNRGC. Charles Emmer, anyone reporting back that Kite is working on the big bluefin?
I haven't heard any reports.
Anything about that. Israel De La Cruz, some yellowfin showing up. Does that mean warmer water coming up? It's been so insignificant, Israel, it's hard to tell. I do know that down around.
That's what the albacore
Butt
predicted
out.
was. Good question.
Go ahead.
So in a good albacore year,
Yeah.
once the yellowfin showed up, what does that usually mean?
It means the water's getting warm.
And
However,
and the albacore are.
starting to leave. However,
I'm just saying normally.
I'll bet you'll agree to this. I've been on kelps where we caught bluefin, albacore, yellowfin, and yellowtail all mixed up.
So it could be the albacore coming with a yellowfin.
Nah, you're right, Israel. It's getting warm, but it's not warm.
It's not warm,
but
no.
it's warm maybe down below, and
Yeah,
some of that stuff's squirting in here. I'm gonna break into tears. No albacore. Andres says, "Hey guys, I got a Valiant 800N and was wondering what type of line I can throw on there for nighttime bluefin tuna SPJ. Can I get away with 100-pound line? It's paired up with an SPJ rail rod."
Yeah, 100-pound is fine. You know, like I said, you want to have at least 400 yards, and depending on what kind of 100-pound you put on there, some are thicker than others. Make sure you have at least 400 yards of line for whatever you put on there.
Almost 160 people watching right now. New records being set here by
All
Friedman
right.
Adventures and Sam De La
Coming on
Torre.
late here.
They're all coming back on to hear what the discount's going to be.
Yes.
It better be good. Better not screw this up. Andrew wants to know, ceviche will be at the
Oh,
shop tomorrow
yeah,
by
baby.
12:30.
Yes.
Really? Does
See?
he make good ceviche?
The best.
Are you making me some? Do I have to come back
I'm
tomorrow?
not sure if I want to put it out there, but Andrew makes some of the best ceviche I've ever had.
Andrew, don't forget me.
A couple years ago, he was doing it as like a side business, I guess you call it.
Yeah.
Man, we had so much ceviche that year. It was crazy.
Man, that sounds
so
good. Put me just a little thing aside, and then I pick it up, go see my wife, and say, "Mi amor, mira que yo hizo por ti. I made this for you." Give me all kinds of brownie points. All right.
Thanks, Andrew.
David Jimenez, great show as always. Good night, fellas. I got to get some Z's. He's got to get up at 2:30 in the morning. Halibut Man, glad I caught the end of the show. Can't wait to talk again next week. Hey, guys, thanks for joining us. William Chansey, what's the password? What was it? Wingstop.
Blackfin.
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 Oh, yeah.
Blackfin sport fishing.
Blackfin sport fishing in the beautiful city of Punta Banda, Baja California. Yeah, stand up. There you go. Now, jump up and down. That's right. You know how to do jumping jacks? Yeah, there you go. Do 10. Perfect. All right, he's going to do the, what do you mean? It's good for the kid. All right. Is there a place, forum, to hire someone non-commercial that's willing to take friends, family out fishing for bluefin, tuna, dorado, yellowtail, blah, blah, blah?
Yeah. I mean, depends on how big your family or group is. You know, they have a bunch of 6-pack boats. I know we were talking about Outcast Sport Fishing the other day. These guys are going to be bringing on a super nice boat. They're coming from the East Coast. They're a brand new boat, so you might want to contact them. Outcast Sport Fishing. They're a 6-pack boat, so it depends on how big a group you have, and also to your budget. You know, some of the boats are going to cost a little more than others depending on the size of the boat. You know, so or you might just book 5 or 6 spots on a boat. You know, I mean, there's call up the Freedom and book a couple spots maybe for call it August or something like that. You think it'd be pretty good, but if you have any questions on that, you can call down to the shop. I might be able to help you a little more with some more information as to what you're looking for.
Israel De La Cruz, who is a fantastic friend. Sam, can I get your opinion on the Ghost Popper with the propeller like a Whopper Popper? Is that going to be the new hot bait?
We'll have to see. That style of lure, that Whopper Plopper. I don't know. Have you ever seen that, the way that works, Phil?
Yeah.
It's kind of a hot a freshwater lure for sure. It's
Right.
kind of become a whole category. I know that 15 years ago or so, I don't know if they were the first ones to make it, but the first one that I saw was from a company called River to Sea, and I thought it was kind of a crazy looking thing. And it took a little while to catch on.
Yeah.
But I took one of those whopper poppers on an 8-day trip, and
Say that 3 times fast.
and yeah, and I thought that thing was going to kill him, because of all the action it had.
Yeah.
I didn't catch anything on it,
Really?
but
No. Here we go. Were you answering a question, or is it my turn?
Yeah. Oh, I think. Well, we might have gotten frozen on the answer.
Oh, okay.
here.
So if you had to pick a
So-
Shimano Trinidad size for fly lining live bait on braid with 25 to 30 pound fluoroliter, which one would you choose?
So the Trinidad 14 or the 16, I probably would go to the 16 for most situations where you wanted to have a versatile kind of like, anything from a 15-pound yellowtail to up to a 60 to 80-pound tuna. That 16 would be a more finesse setup or a picky bite setup. The one thing about the 14, the spool is so light that your bait's going to swim a little bit better. You just don't have a lot of line on that reel, and you really kind of maxed out at 30-pound test on it. It's probably a better 20-pound reel. But if you needed to have a little more finesse, a situation reel, that might be it. But for more of a variety reel, I think that 16 would be the one.
Andrew Polito's got me with ceviche mañana. Gracias. Mil
You're gonna
gracias.
love it, man.
Really? Yeah. I don't
it's
just
really
want my
good.
wife to love it. That's the thing.
Oh, she's gonna love it.
Andres says, sorry to ask another question. Don't be sorry. Sam doesn't need to go home tonight. But what type of line would you recommend in the 100-pound class for that reel for SPJ?
So in that 100-pound, I'd probably go with the Odyssey. I think that's going to be your thinnest 100-pound. Power Pro makes one as well. The only thing is that it is marked in every 25 feet. So it takes a little bit more practice to get to learn how to use that. It's not too bad, actually. The way it works is that every time you get to a certain color, it's 100 feet. So let's just say orange. Every time you get to an orange, every orange is a 100-foot distance. So it's not that hard, but it is different than where they're marked every 100 feet. This one is 25 feet, but that would be another option. Would be in the Power Pro. It's a little bit thinner than the Odyssey, so that would probably be a good deal. But that'd be one of the two that I would choose there.
MJM is jumping on a boat tomorrow. If he
get 'em.
catches, he'll be here with some fish for us, maybe ceviche. Have a great night, and thanks, fellas.
Mark.
Thank you so very much, Mark. Let's see, here we are. DJB just sent us $10. Thank you so very much. Charles Zimmer, I made some ceviche from that sheep's head. Yeah, who made some ceviche from the sheep? Oh, I gave it to a kid who's a neighbor of mine.
Okay.
And Surfside loved it.
you go.
Just outstanding. Tim Marquez, who's another great guy. He was just on board the Legend and got in this morning, perhaps, if I remember right. What's the date for your August trip on the horizon? August 15th. Tim, you have to book with them, but it is August the 15th, and Sam and I would love to see you there because Sam's coming too.
Let's do it.
Yeah. Oh, he is coming. He committed. JR says, thanks, Sam and Phil. Thank you, Raymond. Need a few tips to replace on my rods. How do I remove the old ones? Just heat it up until it's loose, or bring them into Sam De La Torre and let him handle it?
Yeah, you got to heat it up, but you're going to want to heat it up little by little, and you should be able to almost pry it off with a pair of needle nose pliers. So, be careful. Don't overheat it. If you overheat it, it does destroy the blank basically and make it unusable. But if you have any kind of questions on that, you can bring it in and we'll take them off for you. Some of the overseas made rods, they use a very strong epoxy, so it takes more heat. So you just kind of want to heat it up little by little. You don't overheat it.
All right, and a bunch of guys said, hey, you guys froze up, and we've got that under control now. Chris Navarro, I know you can fish on piers and jetties without a fishing license. Can you fish off the rocks, like by Joe's Crab Shack in Redondo, without one? It's a man-made structure. I don't know about that. I don't think
believe
so.
it's a pier only.
Yeah, I do
Yeah,
too.
from what I understand, pier only.
Yeah, Halibut Man, I think they dropped their camera in the bait tank. Christopher Navarro, I would stick to piers or jetties. Excuse me. I think he's right. Carlos, good. You're back on air. Halibut Man, good luck. Dan Smith, got to hit the sack up at 3 a.m.
Phew.
That's kind of like where I'm going right now. P and S says, hello, boys. Catching
Boise.
the end. Huh?
Boise, Idaho.
Oh, wow. Catching the end of the show. But hello from Boise, Idaho. That is fantastic. Chris Navarro, thanks, Halibut Man. I was asked by a guy on the Redondo Pier, so he's all straight on that. Albert Ponce, Sam, what would be a comfortable and efficient fish size to use on the Gold Trinidad 30, like yellows or tuna? What size fish can you catch on those?
Well, I mean, you can catch a 100-pounder, but I don't know about comfortable, you know? I mean, depends on what you can handle. But I would say a 25-pound fish is probably going to be where you start leaving the comfortable zone. You know, it's going to be a little more effort, but the reel will handle anything bigger.
All right, perfect. Israel de la Cruz. Sam, are you a fan of aguachiles?
No, yeah.
You're not?
I mean, it's not something that I have a whole lot, but it's okay, yeah.
You know, and same thing, Israel. I kind of like my shrimp cooked. Like, you know, I'll eat sashimi just about anything. They're good though. I've eaten
They're
them
good,
a million
yeah,
times.
yeah.
When you're in Mexico, people, you know,
All
and I
the
have them
time,
all the
yeah.
time. So, yeah. But it doesn't sound like you're crazy about it, and
Yeah.
either am I. All right, Raul, Phil, Sam, great show. Going on a 2-day trip next week for the first time, and I have a Torque 40 with 80-pound top shot. Will I be okay, or should I change the top shot? First of all, Raul, good luck, my friend. Sam.
Alrighty. No, I
getting
think you're
tired.
good. I think you're good. Yeah, I mean, once again, depending on if that's your biggest rig and how long your top shot is, hopefully, if your top shot's not too long, you can, you can change it as needed. 80 pounds should be good enough, but don't be afraid to bring on some 100-pound. If that's your biggest rig, that might be something to consider. Some of these bigger fish have been caught, and you want to consider putting some 100-pound on it. But you can probably keep your braid size the same.
Albert Ponce, hey Phil and Sam, since you guys like ceviche, I got to get you guys some caítos de lobina or yellowtail. It's a recipe from my guys from TJ. Man, that sounds
right,
good to
there you
me,
go.
right? Israel, man-made structure are fishing free to fish without a license, but check your county regulations. Yes. P&S, Sam, is there going to be an island fishing charter on the horizon? Yes, August the 15th.
Yeah.
Just say that.
August the 15th.
Right?
I just said it.
Oh, thank you.
told me, yeah.
August the 15th. Sam's going to be there. I'm going to be there. Rocket Dog. Have a good night, guys. Always good to watch the show with you guys. Sam, what would you like to say in conclusion? It's been a great show. Hundreds of people on at the same time. We've got ZZ Top. Do you want to get in the frame here at the very end? You sure?
Well, let's mention our deals here.
Oh, Dan. Huh?
So-
deals. Yeah.
We got the blackfin
I'm
charter
going to let
deals.
you do that while I...
For the one gentleman, I forget who it was, that wanted to get a kill bag. If you guys come in and mention the deal, blackfin charters, I'll give you 15% off any of our kill bags. We don't have a ton of them. I probably got 7 or 8 in stock right now of these bigger ones. So if you want to get one, come in and get it. Also, too, you guys were mentioning the rod sock or the rod cover. On these green ones here, these are kind of some basic ones that we had made for the shop, but they work great. I'll do a deal on these 2. Buy 3, you get 2 free. So you get 5 of them. You're pretty much getting them for almost half off. So buy 3, get 2 free on the rod socks. 15% off on the kill bags, and the code word is Blackfin Charters.
All right. Is that it?
That's it.
All right. Well, show. Do you want to say anything before we go? Oh, the ZZ Top guy is not getting away tonight. There is no way. Dan, you're the man. All right, very good. Sam, thanks
Good
again.
night.
Great show.
Thank
Thanks
you
for
very
joining
much.
us, everybody, and we'll see you not next Tuesday because Sam will be gone,
Yeah.
but the Tuesday after that with
Most
another
likely, yeah.
edition of Tackle Shop Confessions.
Go
Thanks,
get 'em.
everybody.